Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Time Spent Poorly Show with your hosts, Edwardo, Old Hudds, and Brother Ron, being brought to you live and in color. Here's Edwardo with a brief interlude within this kick-ass intro to give you a rundown of tonight's topics.
Hey, Edwardo here, and we are here to kick 2020 out the door. Everything's going to be aces from here on out. Tonight we're going to talk about holidays in general, New Year's resolutions, Ron's viewings of the Deathstalker films, and we're also going to explore another declassified agency, so get your holiday drink of choice ready and cozy on up to the Time Spent Poorly Yule log. Now back to you and your beautiful voice.
Don't worry, Edwardo. We don't measure manliness by the depth of our voice, but by the length of our penis.
Oh yeah!
Make sure you're subscribing and ringing all the bells to ensure you're kept abreast of future live broadcasts. And hey, if the live show is past your bedtime, or you only have time to listen, please visit TomSpentPoorly.com and subscribe to, rate, and review the audio version of the show using your favorite podcast app. All you need to know from accessing past episodes, future live broadcasts, as well as other shows on our network, it's right there. There's also a link to our Patreon if you find yourself compelled to support one of your favorite shows. Without further delay, please welcome your hosts, Edwardo, Old Hudds, and Brother Ron.
Welcome. Yeah, if you move your arm, your hand goes around the tree.
It does. That's creepy.
Weird, wild stuff, actually.
All right, welcome to the program.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas,
everybody.
Happy Holidays. Last show of
Yes.
2020.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Fuck this year in its cheeks.
I saw someone on
And
Facebook.
fuck everybody
mention-
that's like, hey, 2020, am I right, guys?
Am I right, guys? No, you're not right.
I saw somebody on Facebook today mention the very ominous fact that next year, if you enunciate it correctly, is actually 2021, meaning that it won and we all lost, and we're in for a whole shit show next year. I really hope they're wrong.
I like that idea.
All right. Tonight I brought chicken bacon ranch pinwheels. I guess we all know how much I love to eat during the show. And what did I get? Sea salt and cracked pepper beef jerky.
Oh, I want one of those.
It's really good. They didn't have the hot and spicy that I normally get, so I got that instead. So your cold smoke, I was just discussing before we went live. I had cold smoke for the very first time on Thanksgiving, and I genuinely
Didn't care
for it.
Did you have it in a can?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that I think probably had a little bit to do with it. But as I've discussed in the past, I'm not really big on darker beers. I never have been. And I'm absolutely going to try yours because you haven't let me down yet. But I'm going to tell you probably up front that I'll probably take a drink of it and then be like, yeah, here, Ward, you can have the rest of this. And I mean no disrespect when I do that.
Well, you had that porter, right?
Yeah, and that was...
This holds up against that porter pretty well.
Okay.
I'm getting a phone call from I don't know who.
Oh.
Rogue River, Oregon.
Oh.
Weird.
But
Hi, Mara.
Hi, Mars.
What's up, sweetheart?
Hi, Amy. Love you.
what's up?
That's my baby girl.
Nice.
So, I mentioned this to my girlfriend because she gave me shit and was saying, "Oh, are you guys going to go off on another big Star Wars tangent?" And I said, "No, I promise I'm not going to go off on a big Star Wars tangent. But I do just want to say,
Because we're gonna try and keep it to 2 hours.
because we're
tonight.
we got to keep it tight because I got to pick up the kids. But I just want to say, Mandalorian season 2. Watch it if you haven't. Really, really impressive. As I was telling Hudds on the car ride up here, officially my new favorite Star Wars content that exists.
Yeah, I would say so.
In,
I think
in terms of overall quality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like head and shoulders above anything else that's come out.
Rogue One's good.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd say I'd put Rogue One in the Mandalorian.
When did this happen?
Kind of.
I wouldn't put it quite that high. But
I enjoyed
I
Rogue
do like
One
it.
because it's a real war movie.
Yeah, man.
And there's a couple of parts there where I was like, okay, I got it.
But we're in the Star Wars universe.
But all of a sudden, it's like winning best Star Wars movie
See that
stuff
I don't know.
on online, like just recently,
Just
like the
in-
last couple weeks.
just
And
in
now
a-
you guys are both like, oh yeah, it's the best of the movies. Like,
I wouldn't
really?
say that. I wouldn't say that.
Because
It's-
I'm still Empire's still the best of
Yeah, it is.
especially the
is.
9 main movies. And I enjoy Rogue One. It's probably second for me, and I love that Vader Hall scene.
Yeah.
Love you girls too.
Love you guys.
Empire Strikes Back. That's the Ewoks, right?
Yeah, that's the Ewoks. No,
That's
Ewoks
Return
are
of the Jedi, man.
Return of the Jedi. Okay. Oh yeah. Empire Strikes Back.
Empire's the one with the ice planet.
5.
And Luke gets his hand cut
Yeah,
off
that's a
and
good
all
one.
that shit. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway.
it's got maybe arguably the best twist in movie history.
Oh yeah.
And
It's right up there.
but
Like with Kaiser Soze and
yeah,
stuff like. I mean, it's right up there.
it's huge. But
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't want to devote too much time to it, but I think we should definitely consider discussing it next show. Give people a little bit of time,
to breathe.
to watch it
Yeah.
and breathe, because it's been fucking everywhere. But if you haven't watched it and you're one of the few people that are currently watching this, check it out. It's not just good Star Wars; it's a good fucking show.
yeah,
Well, and I think
Top notch.
the great thing about it is they're building this whole fucking like structure
Yeah.
around
Right.
around the universe, and also just doing everything better to a degree. I love that meme that's going around right now with J.J. Abrams and Favreau.
Oh, about there's
And
no way
Favreau's
to
just
make
like, hold my
content
beer.
that
Yeah.
appeals to the new audience while still honoring the
Yeah.
old. And yeah, sorry, J.J. Abrams can't do it, but there are other people who can.
well, yeah, and they fixed Boba Fett because I
yeah.
don't care what anybody says. He was a joke. He
I
was
never cared about
He was
Boba
an
Fett
action
until
figure. That's all
until
he was.
now.
He was an action.
He
figure.
was designed so they could sell a toy,
Yeah.
and he never did anything cool. Not one single thing cool.
Nope.
In 2 movies,
He got his ass kicked.
he got put down by a blind guy. Like that's
Yeah.
The coolest thing he did was wrap Luke up in the wire from his little wrist-mounted thing, and that was it. And it lasted about
Gremlins.
14 seconds.
Gizmo.
Oh, Alex would dig that.
Yeah, this.
got all I want for Christmas is
I
beer.
I bought this last year, And I still need to buy my Christmas sweater for this year. My plan is from here on out that I'm going to just like collect, because and this leads into the next topic, because I'm really interested to hear your take on it, considering that you, like me, went all out with the Santa hat and everything. Something happened to me when I became an adult. I have always loved Christmas very much, but especially after having kids, like I get weepy all the time. Christmas is my favorite time of year. It's not even close.
Really?
And yeah, like not even close.
So we're going to have differing opinions, which is going to be great.
It sounds like it.
Each year for me is diminishing returns.
I don't like people getting me stuff because I feel obligated to get them stuff.
My Christmas sweater that I'm going to get this year is I found it on Amazon. I just haven't ordered it yet, but it's the shirt from Die Hard that he paints the blood on that says "Now I have a machine gun." Mm-hmm. It's like a Christmas sweater version of that.
Nice.
That's the next one I'm going to get.
Die Hard, Lethal Weapon. Those are the reasons I like Christmas. The Ref. Like, there's Christmas movies that
I've watched The Ref a couple times this year already.
It's fantastic.
It's such a great movie.
I don't care if people hate Kevin Spacey now.
No.
And I've said that several times on this very program. He's amazing in a lot of movies.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
He's a fantastic actor.
He is.
I don't think his scumminess takes away from his skill at being an actor.
Separate the art from the artist, man.
Yeah. And there's very, very few instances where I can't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, like I said, I'm very interested to get your take on this. Where did you get your Santa hat, if you don't mind me asking?
In my house.
Okay.
I found it in a tote when we were getting our holiday stuff out.
This has a cool story behind it.
Oh, yeah, mine has a zero story behind it.
When I first got married, which was 2009, so our first Christmas together as a family, leading up to Christmas, was talking to my mother-in-law about how much I was feeling the Christmas spirit. Like I said, especially once I started my family and had kids and stuff, it really, really amped up. And I've always wanted like a nice, plush, bougie Santa hat, like not one of the cheap ones that you just get at fucking dollar store or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for my very first Christmas present from my mother-in-law, this is her family's Santa hat. It's older than I am.
Oh, wow.
And she gave it to me.
Yeah, mine has like hat back on it, so mine's like...
like the little clasp thing?
Yeah.
Oh, see, my girlfriend, so you could play baseball.
Yeah, my girlfriend has one like that I was wearing when we were over decorating her tree. But yeah, dude, this thing has such great sentimental value to me. And the fact that it's held up as well as it has, like I wash it very delicately and stuff. Like I take good care of it because it means a lot to me.
That's cool.
He killed a jackalope and dyed it with its blood.
Indeed.
It's a legit thing.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be brown if he did that.
Right.
My bad.
Yeah. So what do you think of the jerky?
It's all right.
It's not great, but it's good.
I mean, I love jerky, so
Yeah, but taste.
all of it's pretty good.
But so yeah, clearly we have very
are all small.
differing opinions on the matter, and it kind of sounds like you kind of fall somewhere in the middle of. I think it sounds like maybe you lean more towards Ward than me, but
no, it's surprising I don't sprout green fur.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I don't like it. I think it's too much like a job. Like,
I can see that.
You drag out shit.
I can see that.
You put shit up.
I can see that.
It's awful. And
it's just, I feel like doing it annually makes it less special because it's like it's on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If there were less holidays, maybe it wouldn't be as bad.
Right.
But I've noticed, like, there used to be maybe 4 holidays, right?
Well, we got 3 back-to-back. You go Halloween,
Thanksgiving.
And Halloween didn't used to seem to be such a big deal.
But it's a big...
You just went, you went and got one of those little plastic fireproof costumes.
Yeah.
And you went door to door and got some candy, and that was it. Now it's like...
we got to do the trunk or treats. We got to go to the store, buy a big ass $50 present or $50 costume.
Costumes are not cheap.
No, costumes have, but in terms of that, they also have gone up exponentially in quality. But
kind of. I mean, they still fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I have that Freddy sweater that I bought at the at Spirit Halloween. I think it was 2 Halloweens ago, and I wear it all the time.
Yeah, but you're not Little Ron anymore.
Well, no, that's
Little
true.
Ron
That's true.
treated shit like shit because he was a child.
No, I was
And-
always pretty good with my stuff. It's one of the things I try to instill on my kids because if you treat it like shit, it gets ruined quickly. And
I got a story about
spoiler
that.
alert, Dad's not
My,
gonna buy you a new one, but
My middle child, he buys a lot of his own stuff, so I'm proud of him for that. He saves up his own money and does, like, he built his own computer and did all that stuff.
that's awesome.
He bought a wireless mouse and keyboard, or not a wireless, but he bought a mouse and keyboard for his computer. He wanted it wired for gaming purposes.
Yeah.
Well, he comes down and he's like, just interrupts us right in the middle of our thing. He has like these moments of like rage. And he's like, my mouse is broke. I need a new mouse. And he just starts getting all pissy. I'm like, well, what happened? He goes, it just, the wheel stopped working. I go, yeah, but what happened? Well, the wheel stopped working. I go, were you hard on it?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I might have slammed it down on my desk a little bit.
Yeah.
I go, that sounds like you were hard on it. And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't care. Just, it's my money. I'll do what and he throws this gift card at me. He's like, just give me, I'll find one. I'll put it in the wish list and give me another mouse. I'm like, oh, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're talking to the wrong fucking guy.
I go, I'm on my timetable, not yours. So
Right.
I'll get around to it when I feel like it. And so he kind of like sat and like stewed for a while and then came back and apologized. But yeah, he comes in
Sorry, I was a dick.
hot.
I was
Yeah.
just mad because I got
'Cause I got mad.
got 360 no scoped by somebody.
Yeah. Fucking noobs.
He doesn't handle video games very well.
So you use the phrase diminishing returns. Do tell. I'm interested.
It's just kind of the same idea of like, I feel like every year you're getting older.
'Cause I don't
we don't
know-
need, like, I already don't need the reminder that I'm getting a year older every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything is just like starting to get shitty. Your kids are getting older.
Fuck yeah, they are.
They're going, and then you're like, well, they're getting older, and then it's going to be important to them because I know it was to me between like 20 and 25, 25, 30. That was when I was like, Christmas, holidays, it's fun because it's family and like you get the whole note, but
They go from that like 15, 16-year-old age where they're like, I don't want to fucking be around you guys, to they hit that about 25, and then they're like, no, it's the holidays. It's about being together. And
right, you
yeah,
want
they have
you
that-
want to have that piece. You want to have that piece of your childhood back.
Yeah.
And so you reach for it, and I think that's for me when I'd reach for it, it was like a couple things. My mom died, and I was 28, so that kind of like yanked a lot of like the good feels around holiday time and stuff away.
100% understand that.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
And so then I probably too much think about my own death and do little about it.
Oh, you don't wish for yours.
Not in the way that you wish for
I
yours.
was hoping, like, not to like sideline it, but yesterday was supposed to be the end of the world, and it didn't fucking happen. And I woke up disappointed this morning.
It was just the first day of winter.
And every time that there's an apocalypse that misses, and there's been like 17 in our lifetime,
Right.
There was that one in '86. There were like 3 in the '90s, and
Well, the
then there was
Hale-Bopp
big-
comet.
right? And 2012, and then we actually there was a miscalculation in 2012. We're not actually in the real 2012, and they did that again this year. And I don't know.
I don't
like
hold much for prophecy, man.
my little hopes get up, and I don't get a lot of hope, but those,
When it comes to
the end of the world, when the eschatology is flowing, I jump up. And I at least my pants go to half mast, and I just hope that like I wake up and it's not there anymore. And by God, it was there this morning.
I guess I'm just not as much of a misanthrope as you are.
I'm okay with it though.
No, I'm not
Like,
judging or saying it's bad. I'm just saying,
think-
So
because my philosophy, especially over the last couple of years and some of the shit that I've gone through with my divorce and everything, is the guy that lives across the street from me is a really good example. So like back in, I think it was August, my mom got hospitalized with COVID and almost died. It was really bad. And while she was in the hospital, paths crossed with the dude that lives across the street from us. And he was in the hospital getting treatment and going over options and discovering that he had a brain tumor. And so they went and they operated, they took it out, so on and so forth. Flash forward to here we are, 4 months later. He died last week.
Oh, shit.
So I started just kind of looking at it as, I know that it sounds weird to say it this way, but it is kind of in line with your line of thinking. I know that eventually I'm going to get to die and not have to put up with all this fucking bullshit anymore. That's guaranteed. At some point, that's coming. It's not that I look forward to it. It's not that I wish for it. But eventually it's going to be there, and it's promised. So I just figure that I might as well enjoy the fuck out of things.
See, and I loathe it for the same reason, because I feel like my time could be spent better doing something else. Aside from, like... Like some people fill their bucket by climbing up the ladder every year and putting the lights on their house and going through the whole like decoration process. That does not that's a chore.
I love that shit.
That's a chore for me. I used to like it, but I don't like.
And maybe, I mean, you're a couple years older than me. Maybe when I get, here a few more years down the road, maybe I will enjoy it less. But I don't go all out for Thanksgiving, as you were saying. We get the bing bang boom, the 3 holidays in a row. I do tend to go a little bit over for Halloween, because Halloween is one of my favorite times of year. It's not close to Christmas, but it's right up there.
Yeah.
I like it because it's not cold.
But Thanksgiving to me is, I don't give a shit about decorations. I don't give a shit about anything except for having a big, fat bomb meal one day.
Thanksgiving is too close to Christmas to even decorate for.
Yeah, no, I see people that do it, but I
know.
I won't be doing it in my home.
I get the fucking turkey,
it's
centerpieces.
Yeah, it's a bit much for me.
I don't know. It's just, I think it got exhausting because we would do, like when my wife and I first started dating.
Yeah.
And then after we got married, we'd do the whole thing where we'd dig out like 7-8 totes every year, roll out a whole bunch of shit to put up.
See, Christmas is the
around
only
the holiday
I do that.
and then it was mostly Christmas. I think we had some Halloween stuff, but then Christmas is over, New Year's comes around, then you got to put all that stuff back. Mm-hmm. And it's just like that to me is a chore. I can
see that.
Like I there's certain aspects I like of it. It's because it kind of puts you in a little bit of a spring clean in the winter, because it kind of like forces you to like tidy things up.
Yeah, you like, oh, what the
dust,
fuck
and
is
it's
this
like, oh
thing?
yeah,
Throw
I
it
got
away.
some dust here.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just, and I guess maybe I'd feel different about it if we had company over more often to the house, and we were like, if we hosted stuff.
Yeah.
We don't host a lot of stuff. Right now we're hosting our kids. And so
you don't have any, like, because I guess I've never really talked to you about this. You don't have any in-laws that come to visit? You don't have any siblings or anything that come by?
Well, not COVID year, but
yeah.
About like my sister died in 2012.
Okay.
So there's another.
Man, fuck.
Yeah, and she was younger than me. And then,
Goddamn.
my dad lives over in Montana. So it's not as close.
Yeah.
And my grandma lives over in Montana.
Montana's not a winter traveling state.
Right.
No,
it's
not at all.
So when my mom was alive, they were more inclined to kind of like come our way when like Wyatt was young.
Yeah.
And she was only like around for about a year and a half before Wyatt died. Or before, not Wyatt died, but before she died.
Yeah.
He was only around he was like about a year, almost 2 years old. And then she passed away before before Cameron was born.
Okay.
And so that kind of just, for whatever reason, that kind of knocked the wind out of my sails a little bit. And we've done a lot of holidays here, and we have like family and stuff here. I've got brother-in-laws. And so we're going to get together on like Christmas Eve at my wife's grandma's house. But it's like, it's such a production every time. And then I think...
And you have 3 children.
Dude, we have 3 children.
When
we got told this year we get to take Christmas at our own house, like we
7
get to
to
just
15,
do Christmas at
right?
home.
When I was,
yeah,
that's
6 to 14. Yeah,
that's
Jesus.
Okay,
That's
a rough age range to be
when I was
dragging
still
around.
married, we had my mom's house, my dad's house, my wife's family, like her parents, her grandma, and there was one more. No, it was just the 4. Oh, our own, to, be at our house and wake up on Christmas morning with our children or our child at the time.
Right.
And yeah, no, it's I for the couple years didn't refer to it as a production. I referred to it as a gauntlet because that's what it fucking felt like.
Well,
it
and
was
I think
hard to enjoy because it was like, okay, we can do this, but we got to get the fuck out of here by 1 because we got to be at so-and-so's house by 1. And if we don't see everybody on Christmas Day, then people are going to feel slighted and so on and so forth. And
yeah,
fortunately, this year is honestly the first year that I've run into it with like my mom and my stepdad and my step siblings and that side of the family. Normally we'll move the holiday around. We'll do it like the week before Christmas, or we'll do it the week or 2 weeks after Christmas or whatever.
Right.
But we'll find an appropriate time where we can all be together. But because of my work schedule, because of my stepdad's work schedule, and because of my brother's work schedule, there is no time. The closest, and this was before I got my schedule telling me that I was working weekends, the closest time that we could find on a weekend to all be together and actually do Christmas together was fucking January 16th. Almost a full calendar month after Christmas. And so, as far as I know, I think they're still doing stuff on that day because it's when they can all be together on Christmas and whatnot. But I was like, dude, my heart fucking lit up when Kelly sent that message to all of us and was like, I realize that everybody has lives, so we may not be able to all be together. Let's plan something. We'll figure it out. And coincidentally, it seems like we're all actually going to be there on Christmas night, which is really badass. Like, I'm really genuinely excited about it because it's been a minute since we've all been able to. It was one of the things I like so much about Thanksgiving is coincidentally it was the same thing. We were all able to be together.
Yeah, I managed to make it to 3 different places.
On Christmas night or Christmas Eve?
Christmas night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I get to spend Christmas Eve with my girlfriend and her kids because she's got her kids on Christmas Eve and most of Christmas morning. So Christmas Eve we're going to go and see the Christmas lights together. I think my mom's going to tag along too because she wants to go. See the Christmas lights, have hot cocoa and peppermint schnapps, and have a gay old time with each other. We'll go back to her house. We'll open a couple presents.
It's only gay if your balls touch.
Right. Or if you kiss.
Under the mistletoe.
And then Christmas morning, we'll get
under the camel toe, yeah.
Under the camel toe. And then Christmas morning, we'll get to wake up at her place, and all me and my kids and her kids will all get to do Christmas morning together, which is fucking awesome. And then afternoon time, we'll go our separate ways.
Do you put on Christmas music and stuff like that too?
Sometimes music, sometimes movies, bit of both. Like I said, I don't think I could be farther. And now knowing some of the things that you've mentioned in this conversation, I can totally understand why you feel the way that you feel. But I said, man,
my whole goal has been about like lowering the bar as far as what my kids should expect. Like, so I don't want them to kind of like every time and like around the 6-year-old age, because it just came into like existence around this time with my first kid was the Elf on the Shelf thing.
I don't like it. My stepmom does it for the kids.
I don't like it because
but I don't do it.
It becomes, it's like one of those obligatory things that you have to, like, that basically society says you have to do. We don't do it. But it's kind of like, but the kids come home and they're like, can we get an Elf on the Shelf? And it's like, no, we can get fucked because I'm not paying $60 for one of, and I think they're cheaper now, but when they first came out, they were fucking...
Yeah,
it was like Furbies.
Steep, yeah.
Or Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, and you got to go through the whole process of like moving it around and
writing letters.
My stepmom does it for the kids. Like today, all the grandkids were over at Mima's today building gingerbread houses. I saw you earlier when you were dropping off Mara.
Yeah.
But
she does it for the grandkids
and probably for herself.
And well, it's for one, she gets a lot out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Is
enjoyment,
like,
yeah. But the other thing is because she's doing it for her grandchildren, she only has to do it when they come to visit, which is usually, once a week. Right. Sometimes once every other week, depending on how schedules fall, but it's typically once a week. Now, if I were in my position and I had the thing and I had to come up with something to do for it every day, fuck that. It's the reason why I don't have an elf on the shelf. Is you want to talk about things feeling like a job and a chore.
Well, that's right up there.
Yeah, no thanks, man. No thanks.
It's like being the tooth fairy.
Have you seen that thing going around? That dude that did the string of Twitter messages. He's a Muslim, and he did Christmas for the first time this year because he couldn't travel because of COVID. And he's like, I always thought it was just, you get a few presents and whatever, have a meal. And he's like, no, it's like you have a part-time job for a month and a half. Yeah. And he's like, I got a newfound respect for you Christians and your Christmas bullshit. And he's in this 12 tweet diatribe about, wow. Yeah. And how he's going to take some of these traditions and try and work them into his Muslim calendar so his family can have something around their religion.
There's a lot of it that it just genuinely feels like work.
The first time I saw it, I was like, and people wonder why I just check out during the season. Like, no. My birthday's in the middle of the season. Yours is right at the beginning.
Yeah, it's literally, mine kicks off the season.
And just, no. You know what I did on my birthday? I left my phone in the basement, and I hung out with my daughter all day. Yeah. Like, I got 5 phone calls, and they all went to voicemail, and I haven't called any of them back.
Nice. You called me back.
Did I?
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to everybody on the phone, but I didn't call them back.
Well, no, not as a return. But no, you did. I don't think it was a return phone call, but you did call me. Yeah. No, and part of it is my fucking just obnoxious, relentless optimism, which I'm aware I possess, and I get that it fucking irritates people. But Muppet Christmas Carol, there's like 3 songs from that movie that during the holiday time, like as soon as it becomes Christmas time and it's like you start talking about Christmas and you start bringing out the decorations or thinking about your Christmas sweater or whatnot, I will just find myself randomly singing those songs because they make me happy and they make me smile and they make me feel good.
I don't know. There's a couple of Muppet movies that just make me feel that way.
Yeah, no, it's
Muppets
not,
in Space.
Yeah, not just
Muppet Treasure Island.
I fucking
Carol.
love Muppet Treasure Island so much. No, and I as we said, I think I've watched, between watching it by myself and watching it with my mom, I think I probably watched The Ref maybe 3 times this holiday season. I've watched The Grinch, the animated Grinch with the kids multiple times. We watched Charlie Brown Christmas a couple times. What else? Haven't watched Christmas Story yet because usually that one's reserved just for Christmas Day.
Boy, man, I'm doing new releases Christmas Day.
Watched Fat Man.
Yeah.
Which was fucking great and will definitely be an annual addition to my Christmas.
Yeah, I bought that one.
Was really fun.
We used to watch the Omen movies on Christmas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one is the one with Sam Neill? Was that the 3rd one? Where he's adult Damien? I think that was the 3rd one.
2nd or 3rd. I can't remember which is which now. The first one is wild.
I think we'll watch Gremlins.
Yeah.
And
it's a legit movie.
And
it's a great one.
But Disney Plus has Soul coming out that day.
Yeah.
And supposedly that's supposed to tug on all your emotions. From what I've heard.
From the subject matter, it sounds like it will. I got to get HBO Max so I can watch Wonder Woman.
I say that, and what's the movie? Inside Out.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody talked about how that movie was just such an emotional roller coaster for him, or a lot of people did.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's all the feels, and it did nothing for me.
It got me.
I didn't have a daughter at the time.
It didn't.
I don't think even having, like, at the time I watched it, I don't think I had a daughter either. But
it didn't make me weepy like the end of Toy Story 3 did, but it got me.
Oh, Toy Story 3, yes.
Dude, when they're all holding hands going down into the fire, holy fuck, that was heavy. That was heavy.
What a fucking show.
Yeah.
For a kid, like, imagine being a kid watching that.
Yeah.
The worry.
Yeah. And Lotso? Lotso's a fucking villain.
Dude, he's
like
a great villain. Super
villain.
great.
Yeah, he made that Kelsey Grammer cowboy look like small potatoes.
Yeah. And
Prospector Pete.
Yeah.
Stinky Pete.
Yeah.
There's a
No,
snake
Gremlins.
in my-
Gremlins is a good Christmas watch.
And then we'll watch Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I need to get I'm just waiting for my first paycheck from CCI to drop so I can get rolled up in that.
Do you know what the sub numbers are up to?
No,
We
I
were
haven't
gonna talk
checked.
about that.
No, I saw that we were going to discuss it, but I haven't checked. I'm sure they've gone up.
You said 12 million something at one point, or at the last show, didn't you?
I believe. I'd have to
Yeah, we
double
looked it
check,
up.
but I believe it was like 12 or 13 million. That sounds right. Do you know what it's at now?
I don't think it's going to matter until
It seemed
next
like it.
episode.
Well, the numbers I had were bigger and from earlier.
So according to this article from CNBC, as of December 8th, they are okay. So from the third quarter, they closed at 8.6 million, and as of early December, they are at 12.6 million.
Okay. So where am I seeing, like, this article here from The Verge says HBO Max has 28.7 million subscribers.
Oh, that's a good question. Because that's a big disparity. Wait, what did that say? It counts activations. So those aren't subscriptions. Those are people who sign up for the free week.
Yeah.
And
I wonder how
those
many
aren't-
that's
those
going to
aren't-
be.
Those aren't retained subscriptions.
Oh, okay. To date, number 12.7 million. Okay.
Oh, and for the two people watching, you can sign up for the free week and immediately cancel and still watch for the week.
I think they've done away with it now. They were doing away with the free week leading up to Wonder Woman's release, and they might have gotten rid of it already. I'm not sure about that, but that was one of the things that people were like, man, how many people are going to sign up for a free week to watch Wonder Woman and then cancel it? And they deliberately set up that they were going to do away with the 1 week trial. I would assume it's probably gone by now because it's, almost time for Wonder Woman to drop, but
That's
I'm sure.
fairly old.
I've heard
Yeah,
I've
that's
heard
from
really,
October.
October.
I've heard really middling reviews about Wonder Woman 84, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, but I just mean, and this is for any free week. You sign up and then immediately cancel. You still get to watch for the week.
Hulu doesn't let you do that.
Really?
Yeah, if you sign up for the free week of Hulu Live, the moment that you cancel it, they give you a little notice thing that says, if you want to come back, just re-enroll and you'll get the remainder of your free week time.
Whoa.
But yeah, they actually, the moment you close it, the end of that 24-hour cycle, they cut you off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was something you do so that you can get your free week and then you don't forget at the end to cancel it out.
It's gone. Tori, are you talking about the HBO Max free week? Yep. Okay.
No more free.
I thought so because, like I said, I knew they were doing away with it leading up to Wonder Woman.
That's good because I think they should get their money.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I'm totally going to pay for it. I've just, now that I'm actually gainfully employed again and can afford to throw money at things like that, there's so much shit on HBO Max that I intend to watch.
Oh,
Like,
it's
so much.
It is the best streaming service available.
What is it a month?
$15.
It's not bad.
Oh, don't throw that away.
He needs those.
What am I doing?
He needs those.
So one of these.
One of these.
That's the cold smoke clone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, what was I thinking of? I wonder when they'll bring it back. Because it's not like they're going to leave the free subscription.
No, they
Week
want to entice
off.
people with that
Right.
week.
They're just leaving it off for this.
Oh, yeah.
So they can get those.
They might very realistically bring it back.
So a bunch of dong eaters don't come and watch Wonder Woman on Christmas and then bounce.
I'm interested to see how much it makes in the theater. Like, very interested.
Yeah.
Because there are theaters that are open. I mean,
There are people that want to go to the
there
theater.
are people that want to go to the theater and see it. I'm very interested to see. I thought Santa was Ward dressed up as Santa. Then he moved and scared the shit out of me. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I keep looking at Ward to talk to him, and then looking back at the screen and being like, "What?" It freaks me out.
Yeah, there's no tree behind Hudds and Ron either.
Oh.
I thought about getting a soundboard put together for him so he could join in on the conversation.
So he could just
So that he
like,
can contribute.
quit raping my reindeer.
Yeah.
Hands off the package.
Or like just have
Take your thumb out of Rudolph's ass.
no, I have a machine gun. Have like Hans Gruber.
Or just all quotes from Mel from Fat Man.
Yeah.
It's not that I dislike it. It's just not my. It's better than the other.
It's
that
not
I
your
had.
glass of beer.
It's definitely better than the shit I had in a can though. Like that ain't even a question, and I'll drink it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring out a can tonight, and I was gonna taste test
But,
them
yeah,
side by
it's,
side, but forgot.
It's definitely better than the stuff that was in the can, but. No, I'm interested to see Soul though. Pixar rarely stumbles.
I can't think of
Most
a Pixar movie I haven't enjoyed.
I genuinely and actively dislike Cars 2.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's
Cars 3 is really good.
There was
but-
a third one?
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's not bad. It's still.
I
not
don't
as
know
good as
what
the
they were
first one.
trying to do with the second one.
It was a Mater
I don't
vehicle.
think they knew what they were trying to do for it. They
Vehicle.
just, yeah, there you go. But
It was I think it was more meant to kind of highlight his character because he was so fun in the first one that they're like, we got to capitalize on this.
yeah,
I don't know.
And-
I think they do that too often.
everybody loves
There's
Larry the
so
Cable Guy.
much. I know I do this a lot, the whole going off on fucking advertising, but I'm convinced that advertising is the worst thing that's ever happened to our species.
No, I agree.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
And
We didn't talk about this the last show, and I wanted to. Go ahead.
I didn't come up with this until after the last show. That rant. Let me go back in the chat because I had some really good points.
Okay.
I just
Go
have
back
to
to the outline.
I have to go
Yeah.
into
Please.
this long diatribe that I went off on a couple days ago.
Because we can.
We can circle back to it.
I was gonna say we
ARGs.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when we were talking? Now, what was the big one? Cloverfield.
Yeah,
Cloverfield had a big ARG.
Yeah, I was part of it. I've
And-
talked about that on
yeah.
the show.
And
I was inadvertently a part of it, but
I had
was
never
cool.
I'd never seen that
For the listener and for me to refresh my memory, ARG is
alternate reality game.
okay.
And they've used them in marketing. I don't think that was the first one that,
no, it wasn't. But it was huge.
but it was the first really good one I remember. And I've seen a couple others. There were a few. There was an app for the Dark Tower for a while. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you could like hover over magazines and stuff
There
would
was a-
pop out.
There was a thing for, I want to say it was for Terminator Salvation, the one that took place in the future with Christian Bale and whatnot,
Okay.
where you could like sign up and listen to broadcasts that they were sending out to try and get people together. It was a really, really minimal one, but it was there.
And there's been
Lost did it with the Dharma Initiative
Yes,
stuff.
Lost did it very big with the Dharma Initiative stuff.
there's been a few tied to video games. There was one with Destiny where if you figured it out, and the first person that figured it out found this thing at these coordinates out in the middle of the woods that had like a full-size replica of like a spear from the game.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. Dude, look at Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Blair Witch was one of the big first ones that, like, they even had a tie-in show on the Sci-Fi Channel
Yeah.
prior to the movie
The
coming out.
docu-
That was like a documentary done about
which
what
is
the movie was going to be about.
what should have keyed us off that it wasn't fucking real. We had to go on AOL to figure out. You remember that?
Yeah,
It was
I
like
do.
2 o'clock in the morning. We
I
were at
do.
your house.
I do.
Over on
because
Frost Lane.
I watched the documentary thing, not knowing anything about the Blair Witch movie or anything like that, and I was like, "Dude, they made a movie about this. This shit is scary, cool shit." And then went to Google it and found out that
shit was nuts.
Oh, no, that's it's advertising.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But
no,
it turns out that intelligence agencies were using these in the 50s, 60s, and 70s
okay.
as like ways to train agents to as ways to put other intelligence agencies on things that weren't real. And it got me to thinking, like, one, lots of spy tactics have ended up as advertising between ARGs, subliminal messaging, trauma-based mind control, ritualized behavior, like
Product
all
placement.
of these things that are
Product
used
placement.
as product placement, as interrogation techniques, as
Well, look at the
conditioning.
housewife from the 50s. And,
Yeah.
that was crafted from,
television,
and just
radio
like,
dramas.
Yeah.
the Cleavers.
yeah, Donna Reed.
Yeah, all that stuff. And then, like, all those commercials. It's like, I have to have all this stuff. One, it's to sell the stuff, but it's also to
Your man
inform
would
you
love
on
you more if
inform
you,
you
make
on
him a
how
pot
to
of Folgers
be
every morning.
Yeah.
Like, and
And-
what's funny is that the advertising back then, that was literally how subtle it was.
Yeah.
And
It
those
was-
notions have sprawled out into this part of the country, into like
Yeah.
little America, not into like the big cities. That's why like all the movies show, like if you watch a movie, it's always about a strong, powerful woman working at a magazine agency, clawing her way to the top. But then if we go out into like the country where we're at, then the woman is the housekeeper. She does like
Hausfrau.
yeah. And so, but you
So-
see that on Facebook too, that all these female profiles are like, got to keep my hubby happy kind of stuff. And it's like,
Have you watched any of the Animaniacs reboot?
How many of those are
Speaking
fake?
of the women climbing the corporate ladder.
no.
There's a joke very quickly that the little short balding guy is no longer the head of WB in the Animaniacs reboot, and it's this really sharp-nosed bitchy woman, and she's talking to Dot, and Dot talks to her about trying to advance their position in the company, and she's like, no, I am a very firm believer in pulling up the ladder as soon as I climb it.
I like that. What were
It's
you
been
saying
good.
about how many of those are fake?
Oh, yeah. I said, how many conspiracy theories are with just enough proof, but then the proof just abruptly ends? Like people are digging for, like the Mothman or
Lots.
whatever, like weird shit, and then the
Lots.
proof just stops.
Keep
How many
people
of them
distracted.
were ARGs? That not just something some intel agency was doing, but something like some abandoned corporate advertising thing. Like a whole bunch of weird shit
Yep.
is found out in the middle of nowhere. Because I mean, they just put that spear out there. What if nobody fucking found it?
Yeah, if
then
nobody
somebody
ever
found it 20
and
years
I was
later.
going to say, yeah, 50 years from now, somebody happened to be out there and found it. And imagine, and this is the thing that I think is interesting about that, is imagine the stories that would be fabricated and built off of it if that happened.
Yeah.
50 years from now, there's like, oh, we found this spear that could be a blah, blah, blah. And you'd have 20 million different people with 20 million different ideas of what the actual story of that spear
Yeah,
was.
like, what are these
when
weird
it was really
symbols?
just some bullshit video game thing.
Yeah, like, oh, Destiny, it's a war mine spear.
Yeah.
It's the fucking javelin. Whoops. But, and it just abandoned midstream. Like, oh, no, nobody's picked it up,
Right.
so we'll just leave that out there, and
Yep.
Indiana Jones of, 2120 will
It's
find
a
it.
very... it's not something that you really think about to a great extent, but it is absolutely something that is very, very real possibility.
So all of this shit, none of it is nefarious beyond just them trying to get you to buy their shit.
Right.
So it's not like it's not devil worshiping. It's not people eating children, and maybe that was part of the campaign, because like maybe it was an ad campaign for Rosemary's Baby. You remember when they remade that in like 2005 or something, 2006?
Yeah, something.
They tried to remake Rosemary's Baby. What if some of that shit that people have found that's all wild was an ARG for that? You know, like when all this red shoe shit and whatever. Like, what if somebody photoshopped that shit from way back then?
Oh, yeah.
Like, look at all these rich people that are wearing these creepy red shoes made out of baby skin. Like, really? You think that's what that is? And I hate to be that dude that's like, I doubt all this stuff. But, God, sometimes you just have to be cynical. Because, fuck, could it really be that bad? Especially the day after the world doesn't end. You know? Like, you see all these people that are just so dead set on everything. Oh, God, it's all happening. Jupiter's fighting Saturn again. It's all fucking on. And then, no, it's not. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was no fucking great anything. It was just the shortest day of the year, folks. First day of winter.
Well, that's where a lot of my thoughts go to about like the people in power, or we've talked about this before, is like, but who's that interested in that? Like, I know that people want to be in power,
right,
or have like control over
as much as possible.
But I think that, like, I don't know, it's hard to imagine that it as big a deal as as a lot of people will make it out to be.
Well, and I've said this before too. That, like with some of it, because Nancy Reagan believed so much in astrology, Ronald Reagan did a lot of stuff when it was astrologically beneficial for whatever action he was going to do.
Yeah.
And so if foreign intelligence agencies would have known that, they could have predicted what we were going to do based entirely on his wife being a superstitious Hollywood bitch. You know? I mean, people can worship Nancy all they want for just say no, but the DARE program fucked up a lot of kids.
The DARE program,
a lot of people.
That
was where the war on drugs started.
I didn't pass the DARE program, and I would say that I was probably one of the only kids to come out of the DARE program not passing. That
Who didn't do drugs?
Who didn't do drugs? Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I saw a meme about it the other day, and I remember having that conversation in junior high. Like, this girl was like, you know, I didn't know the names of any of these drugs before.
Yeah.
I'm always reminded of the Dave Chappelle skit.
And I was like, now I want to try these, because this one gives you energy. This one lets you see fucking dragons and shit.
And you watch these,
like,
they do these after-school movie type things where they make you watch
up and he's like, you can huff glue, and I was in my room with Big Bird and Fozzie the Bear. We laughed and laughed.
Yeah.
Like,
But
yeah, you never thought about that shit till they told you about it.
Hundreds of kids were millions of fucking American kids of our generation were probably like,
suddenly got curious.
Who didn't know shit about drugs.
Yeah.
That would have otherwise been oblivious to
They
them.
might have tried some pot, you know? But God, I heard about mushrooms and LSD, and that's all I fucking wanted. All I wanted. You mean I can see like shit that's not there?
Right.
Or might be there and I just can't see it right
and
now
maybe that's
because my brain's not activated?
And that's why I never got that curious about it, because I didn't I was a terrible student. I didn't pay attention in that class. It was boring to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, I fucking no. And then I jumped into some of the alternative literature back then, and it was like, wow, some of that stuff, some of it, like alcohol activates like the lower portions of your brain, but some of that shit, mushrooms, LSD, activates the higher portions of your brain and does some really cool shit. Like Timothy Leary had some great research.
Look at the research that they've been doing in terms of psilocybin treating people with like PTSD and long-term mental problems. And
I have. I mention
it's-
it every fucking
Yeah,
time I go to the VA.
It's fucking fascinating. It really is.
I was like, there's studies being done.
The ways that microdosing can quite literally, I don't know if I want to say rewire, but
That's
struggle
exactly
to
what
find
it
a
does.
better way to word it. Is it literally will correct those shortcomings that you have.
Look into the 8 circuits of the mind.
It's crazy.
Limitless.
How they are activated by different things. It's
crazy.
Fascinating. And you know, I mean, you can go the Joe Rogan route and be like, "Oh, powerful! It's all powerful. Oh man, you ever do DMT? You go climb in your shoe. It's fucking amazing."
Yeah, I don't know about all that,
but there is something there. You know, you can go to South America and do ayahuasca and fucking see other universes.
discover
There's
things
some
about
shit there.
yourself that you never knew were there.
But like, I've never ended a shroom trip and been disappointed.
Nope.
Not once.
No.
And it's been fucking 20 plus years. No, because I was probably 20.
But the problem,
like 18 years.
The problem with drugs like that is that you as an individual have to know what you're getting yourself into and be prepared for it. And you have to make sure that you are surrounded by both comfortable people and a comfortable setting.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who are like, no, man, I'm going to fucking take this tab of acid, or I'm going to eat the mushrooms, and then I'm going to go out. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's my first time. Why?
Yeah, that'll be, you won't have fun. Because a large part of it, if you're going to gain something beneficial from it, is being comfortable while these things are happening to you.
Right.
Because it's very, very easy to be in an unfamiliar or uncomfortable situation, and then you start experiencing things and your brain starts going down little rabbit holes that you didn't even know it had, and you get scared, and I mean, there are a million bad trip stories that I could use as examples, not of my own, but of people that I know. The way that they do it medically with the microdosing and it being in a very controlled environment and stuff like that, if you're actually going to reap the benefits that it offers, you have to do it in that way. Otherwise, you could wind up fucking making things 10 times worse. You could end up like the girl that was at my friend's house who was like, we had to at one point actively restrain her because she was trying to throw herself off the balcony.
Wow.
And that's not a fun time for anybody. Like anybody.
No.
And I can't imagine it was a fun time for her. I know it wasn't a fun time for us.
I've seen Midsummer. No, thank you.
There are good examples of that about especially the boyfriend when he's starting to face realities in his own mind that he didn't really realize were there. And the actor does a really tremendous job of portraying it effectively, but it's, like I said, it makes you think about things from a perspective that you've never, because your brain goes there before those little parts in your brain can say, oh, don't fucking go there.
It takes a lot of walls down, and you can
does.
take shortcuts through the maze that
And
aren't.
it does, and sometimes you don't need those walls to come down, and sometimes you need to be very prepared for the concept of those walls coming down. And if you're not, it'll wind up, like I said, it'll wind up doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
But I think the scientific studies prove, and there's been enough of them now because they've been doing it for a little while, that there is a lot of beneficial things to be found in it. It just has to be done safely and constructively.
Yeah. Or you find some experienced people.
Well, yeah,
Like
that too.
I don't trust a lot of those lab coat wearing motherfuckers.
No.
Especially not if they're working for the government.
Yeah.
I've worked with entirely too many government people to trust anyone who works with the government. That's some lowest bidder shit.
No, the
You mean
to
you ever ridden around in a Humvee? Like
to
no, thank you.
To circle back to where we got started on all this, though, in terms of the advertising and stuff, I think there is a lot of, like we were talking about subliminal messages, product placement and stuff like that. There are a lot of things that people ingest daily in their media and all of that stuff that they don't even realize that they are taking it in.
Yeah.
It's the news too.
And
We've talked about that.
Yeah, the news as well.
I tune in to see what's on the what happened on the news today.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's like tuning into a sitcom.
They put so much stock into what they take in that in many similar ways to taking something like a microdose of mushrooms or something like that, it alters your perception.
Yeah.
Over a sustained period of time.
Mm.
It's interesting right now watching the news because they all of a sudden like cut way back any coverage on Trump.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never watched the news, but I haven't heard about him in the news in a while.
But if you watch, politics is just a drug. And I've watched a bunch of my friends become junkies.
Yeah.
And they'll talk about it like, oh, it's every 4 years is my super game, so just calm down. You have your Super Bowl every year. Let me have mine every 4 years. But like, it's a fucking drug, and these people are getting worse and worse and worse. And I've taken a couple of fucking hits myself, because every once in a while I'll get on a little bender and take a political fucking
skew or scamp.
Yeah. I'll go down that.
You wind up going down the wrong rabbit hole. Yeah.
And it's no different than doing opium. You know, you just you get on that political high.
Oh, I've chased it both. Yeah. I've chased it both directions. Where you're like the liberal part of your brain takes over, and you're like fucking going for that, and then next thing you know, you've got something that's
same, and you get the right amount of charisma in a person, and you'll just be like, okay, I could get behind that idea.
Yeah,
yep.
I could get behind that idea. Like I was for a while there, I was okay with that Andrew Yang kid. And now he's talking about getting fucking barcodes put on people who have had the COVID vaccine.
Right.
Like, fuck you, cocksucker.
Okay, so on that note, I had a question for you guys that I forgot to ask you because I've gotten, I think, 4 or 5 different notifications from my phone now about it. Is your phone regularly reminding you and informing you that you can download an app that will alert you about COVID?
No, but I don't go over the bridge. You go over the bridge regularly.
Yes, that's true.
That's why.
Maybe it's when I'm in Washington.
I'll get little ads from Google Play they're not ads of like a little bar that shows up on your screen like, oh, you got a Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's the thing that's like saying
it pops up on the screen and is like you can download or you can cancel, and it's a full blown thing. And
that's why it's because you're crossing the bridge.
I have the COVID-19 app on my phone. Because I ended up downloading it, but I never activated it.
Why did you download it?
I don't even remember why.
What's wrong with you?
I don't even remember why.
If I could,
it's gone. It's gone.
It's gone. I'm sorry. If I could figure out a way to disable it, I would. But it
just came back.
The thing that I wonder is how many people who are I don't want to sound arrogant and say that I'm like super informed or anything like that, but knowing what I know about marketing and having spent so many years working in advertising and the way that those things are designed, how many people who get on their smartphone and see a thing that's like, hey, you can do this, blah blah blah, that do it.
98% of them.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's
how far away are we from putting a little badge with a 6-pointed star on their chest that says, I haven't had the COVID vaccination?
It's the same people
that fucking scary
that rally against it that end up doing that shit. It's like the fucking people, they'll post all this shit, they'll repost, copy paste shit on Facebook all the time, and they're the first ones to put up, I will not allow Facebook to take my photos and blah, blah, blah.
The only way to do that is to get off Facebook.
This is my proven statement that I will not allow Facebook. Yeah, man.
And I'm like, come on.
I weep for those people's children.
We are those people's children. Dad does that like 2 or 3 times a year.
Oh, my dad won't do it.
I don't know that I've ever seen him do it. Huh. I know my mom doesn't. Because my mom is one of those people who is terrified of everything on the internet. Anytime my mom orders anything from anywhere,
that's my dad. My dad doesn't have an Amazon account.
Is this a safe place to order from, Ronnie? Are these people legit? And I'm like, Mom, all you have to do is go into Google and type in the name of the company, And if you don't finish typing the name of the company and the first Google suggestion is something like scam or something of that nature, then you know you don't want to order from them.
My dad had one like identity theft thing happen to him a handful of years ago. And it was probably before even Amazon was at its height. So now he's like off all that stuff. He just like, it's like, I don't like using my credit card info online.
Nah.
And I get it.
There are not a whole lot of places that I do it, honestly.
I only just recently went on eBay and did something.
Oh, see, I've had good experience on eBay.
Well, I did eBay long time ago, and then I went to Amazon. I was like, Amazon's the only place I go. And then I started buying stuff from other places for like the beer stuff. And then I went back to eBay because I never really had any bad experiences with eBay. But it was always like, when I was looking for stuff on eBay, it was always like secondhand stuff or used stuff or
I have little rules for
obscure things
on shopping on eBay of like, if you're somebody who doesn't have the little thing that says top rated seller, I'm not buying from you. If you're somebody who doesn't have like several thousand positive responses from people, I'm not buying from you.
And you should use some of those same rules for Amazon.
Yeah. This sweater, for example. This sweater, if you feel, Chris, is like jersey material. It was not supposed to be. It was supposed to be a warm fuzzy.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It feels like underwear.
Right? Because it's
maybe
from,
basketball shorts.
It's from some fucking place in China or something.
Yep.
And I lucked out and I didn't get hosed on it and it fits me. But I don't wear it for warmth because it is the fucking opposite of warm.
Right.
Like, it's one of those hoodies you can wear in the summer and not even notice.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's, it works. I mean, it's Christmas, so I can't really wear it in the summer anyway, but you know what I mean.
Sure you can. You're almost 40
do what you
years
fucking
old.
want, man.
You can do whatever you want. You can have cake for breakfast. Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I did whatever I want for the last year and a half and gained like 50 pounds. So I'm trying to
really
do what I do. Yeah. Fuck.
Oh,
damn.
God, I started doing whatever I want and I lost 20.
Really?
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I need to be more careful.
Isn't that fucked up? Like, I'm constantly pining for the apocalypse, but I'm also constantly looking for ways to live longer.
I mean,
what are you doing, Hudds? Taking vitamins? Taking vitamins?
That's the light one. Yep. That one's a big hit.
Regular
with everybody I've given it to.
Regular chiropractor visits, you know.
Fuck life. I got to take care of myself.
Just looking to extend this misery as long as I can in case the Buddhists are right.
Well, if you're going to live for a long time, you might as well at least be comfortable if you have to endure it. I mean, there's no sense because having your neck out of alignment is not going to kill you, but it's going to make you wish you were dead.
I want to be healthy when that meteor hits.
Yeah. At least be able to feign running for a second.
I want to be
lucid and alert when I get vaporized.
Let's get out of here.
I want to be the most vitamin-packed dust in this section of the cosmos.
So.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, speaking of bad necks and bad backs, my bad neck, which I believe I was diagnosed with 2 herniated discs in my neck. Apparently that's where all my numbness issues have been coming from and all of those things. But my back issues allowed me to watch Deathstalker 2 this morning because I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned from about 6 until about 7:30 and then was like, you know what? Fuck this.
Is it as rapey as Deathstalker 1?
No. Okay. Few things that I've ever seen are as rapey as Deathstalker 1. As I told you guys in the chat, I lost count at 6. And I was only 30 minutes into a 76-minute movie.
6 rapes.
Do you think
it's like the Bill Cosby of movies?
What's the Game of Thrones tribe? What are they called?
The Dothraki?
Dothraki. Do you think George R.R. Martin was inspired by this movie for the Dothraki?
Well, it's like I said, it's in some ways yes, but it's not. It's not rape in the aggressive, like she doesn't consent, but I don't give a fuck sense. I mean, there is some of that alluded to it, but like I was talking about in the chat, there's a scene in. Let me back up. So,
yeah, just get the audience in on this.
Yeah,
there are 3 people.
You watched a movie. You watched the movie.
So for Christmas this year, not only was I watching my regular Christmas routine, as I've talked about, the Ref and the Grinch and Frosty and Rudolph and all the conventional shit, but I had been sitting on several very, very cult classic-y type sword and sorcery movies from the 80s. Deathstalker 1 and Deathstalker 2 were both produced tangentially. He doesn't have his name on them, which I find very interesting, by Roger Corman, because he said that for Deathstalker 1, he had an idea that was similar to Conan, and he missed. That's very cute, Ward, by the way. I like that. Stroke his beard. Oh, your hand disappears. Never mind, it doesn't work. He was inspired by... Oh, that escalated quickly. Speaking of rape, he was inspired by the Conan movies, but he said, I missed the boat, so I want to do something similar to it. So that's where Deathstalker 1 came from. One of the things that I was amazed in looking at these movies is they all had budgets of like roughly around $500,000. And Deathstalker 1 made $11 million domestically.
Wow.
From its box office run, which I was really fucking amazed by. But
what year?
83, I think.
It's like the height of Cosby's. So okay.
But so there's a noticeable.
Just wondering if
I'm gonna talk about these movies in order of both terms of quality and coincidentally enough, terms of their straightforwardness and actually being like a medieval sword and sorcery type movie of what you think about with like Conan or Beastmaster or something like that. Deathstalker 1 is, as I told Hudds, it plays out very much like what you would see in a D&D campaign. There's a couple moments of humor, like, but the main story of Deathstalker 1 is that Deathstalker, which is actually his name, which I think is fucking awesome, but he is just a traveling hero who robs from evil people and
robs and rapes.
Does his own thing.
He's a murder hobo.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah, he is. And he doesn't really give a shit about anything except for making sure that he sees the next day. And he ends up crossing paths with this witch that he knows, who informs him that there's this evil wizard named Munkar who has already collected 2 of the 3 items of power. There's a chalice of magic, there's an amulet of life, and there's a sword of justice. And he has the amulet and the chalice, and he's trying to get the sword. And so she tells him, it's your destiny to get the sword, and then when you get the sword, you can't be harmed, and you can use the sword to go take down Munkar. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about any of this. And literally, he does not care. What he says something about heroes and fools being cut from the same cloth. Like he genuinely, he's just like, I mind my own business, and I rape where I see fit, and I get money from the bad guys that I kill, and I do my thing. But he decides that he's going to go do this. Well, when he goes to retrieve the sword from this cave, there's this imp character who is probably the only real comic relief in the movie. But he's guarding the sword along with these other like ogre beings that are inside the cave. And it turns out that he's an imp because he was put under a spell by Munkar. And so he tells Deathstalker that if he helps free him, he'll become his servant. And then later in the movie, the guy who's been an imp for 30 years ends up in this room that's just a harem full of women that were Munkar's slaves, like sex slaves. And he ends up in this room full of 30 women. He's like, I waited 30 years for this. There's like those little bits of humor, but there's not really any humor in it. And so Deathstalker and the little imp man, who's now back to being a man, are on their way. They've got the sword, and they're on their way to face Munkar so that he can get the chalice and the amulet. And it turns out that Munkar is having this big tournament to decide who will become his heir, even though he's supposed to be an immortal magician, evil sorcerer guy. And along the way, he picks up friends with a guy named Ogress. The guy who plays Ogress actually played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, Part 3 and Part 4, which is the only other things that he's ever done. And as I was telling you guys, the female barbarian that he meets up with is played by Lana Clarkson, who was the chick that Phil Spector murdered back in like 2006, 2008, something like that. It was a little while ago. But
I don't think it even predated that.
Phil Spector was a huge music producer who produced like a shit ton of the Beatles music.
Had that wild white
He
hair.
had his crazy hair and whatnot. Yeah, well, apparently Lana Clarkson took a limo with him back to his house, and very shortly after they got into the place, Phil Spector tried to claim that she committed suicide, but he basically shot this chick in the face and killed her. And she plays this barbarian chick named Kyra, who... all she wears, she's like the female equivalent of a male barbarian. She wears a cloak and a loincloth. And that's it. So when she's swinging her sword and cutting people down and whatnot, like, it's just tits out. Yeah, it's very gratuitous in its nudity. As I was telling you, the movie starts with... Yeah, there are some similarities.
She's super pretty.
Yeah, she was really pretty. Like, she was genuinely pretty. The girls, the twin girls, that I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but the twin girls that are the leads in Sorceress actually both also were quite pretty. And
Is it Shannon Tweed and her sister?
No, because they're actual twins.
Oh.
And the girl who is her name's what's her name? No, I can't remember it off the top of my head. Marion Gabrielle or something like that. Let me look at Deathstalker 2 here. The chick who is the lead in Deathstalker 2 who plays dual roles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really stretching her chops out.
Monique Gabrielle, excuse me. She's a horrible, horrible actress. Like, horrible actress. But she's genuinely a smoke show. Like, she's very pretty. But anyway, Deathstalker 1 starts with this nasty bandit guy who has kidnapped a girl, and he's taking her away while he's trying to rob from this dilapidated house. And while he's in the process of robbing from this dilapidated house...
We've all been there.
Right. It's called Saturday sometimes. They get waylaid by bandits. And so he's in the middle of robbing this house and is going to rape this girl that he's taken from the village. And the bandits show up. And they decide, nuh-uh, we're going to rape her. So they start attacking the guy. And they start trying to rape the village girl that was taken. And he tries to buy them off with the gold that he's given them. Or with the gold that he's stolen. And they're not having any of it. And then Deathstalker rolls in. And Deathstalker kills all of them. And then cuts the bindings on the village girl's hand. And proceeds to try to rape her. And would have done so had he not gotten distracted by somebody who wanted to talk to him. But so Munkar is having this big tournament to decide who his heir will be. And Deathstalker goes with the dude who plays Jason and with the girl that Phil Spector murdered and with his servant who was the imp. And they go to Munkar's castle. And this is like, it's an hour and 15 minutes long. And the first about 45 minutes of the movie are this. Like the actual tournament itself doesn't start until like 40, 50 minutes into the movie. And the tournament itself is all like montage quick cuts of people fighting with each other. Mm-hmm. And then Ogress winds up being a servant of Munkar who betrays Deathstalker. Sorry for spoilers for a 30-year-old movie, folks, or 40-year-old movie, but whatever.
That you probably can't find anywhere.
No, they're all three of the movies I'm talking about are on Amazon Prime.
No shit?
No shit.
Guess who's watching Deathstalker?
Yeah, and so again, I'm talking about Deathstalker 1 first because it is the best of the three. There are some cool sword fights. The guy who plays Deathstalker is a very convincing barbarian hero. There's all these really great moments where like a heroic orchestra swells when they talk about like, we need a hero, and the camera like zooms in on him as this music swells and he's just like biting his chicken leg or whatever. But so they go and they're at Munkar's castle. There's, as I sent you the video of the big, it's just a castle set room full of people who are either eating, fighting, or raping, and there's like 60 people in there, and it's just everywhere. It's fucking it's craziness. But then
I wonder if this dude just thought that's what that time was like.
there are a lot of movies I'm discovering in watching some of them. There are a lot of movies that kind of seem to have that mentality.
Thought it was like it or
that
wished it was like it?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of both. Maybe a bit of both.
It's just a little fantasy.
But so it gets to the end. Deathstalker has to fight this big nasty man who's got like a pig head. There's some cool little monster creatures in the movie. Again, it's really impressive what they were able to do with literally only $500,000. But it spills over into Deathstalker 2, which I'll get to. Deathstalker wins the tournament. Munkar decides that he's going to deceive him. Deathstalker is able to overpower Munkar, get the chalice, get the amulet, already has the sword. He tosses Munkar to the servants and slaves of the city, so he doesn't even actually kill Munkar. He lets the townsfolk and the vengeful townsfolk do it for him.
So he is a hero.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah, he is.
He's
Like,
a man of the people.
He rapes, but he's a hero.
He rapes, but he saves.
Yeah, he rapes, but he saves. Exactly.
Hero rape. I think I coined that in the chat earlier.
Yeah, you did, because there's the spot where Munkar takes one of his guards and casts an illusion spell on him to turn him into a female to send him in. Because the thing is anytime that Deathstalker has the sword on his person, he can't be harmed. So his idea is, I'll send this girl, quote unquote, in to have sex with him and seduce him. He'll get the sword away from him, and then she can stab him with a knife, and Deathstalker will die.
I need a sword like that.
And-
I think
and-
is what the moral of this story is.
And that winds up not happening. But Deathstalker, upon discovering that she tries to stab him, his response, before he even knows that what's going on, he just punches her in the face, knocks her down onto the bed, and proceeds to start raping her before he hears her start talking in her male voice. And is like, "What are you? What's
Hold it there, buddy. I got a dick.
Yeah, and so it's that was where I was telling you, it was like, yeah, no, it is full on.
Bitch
hero
sounds like
rape at this
Rodney
point.
Dangerfield. Get no
But so
respect.
he lets the vengeful townsfolk kill Munkar. He says, I don't want any of this power. I don't want to rule the city. And he uses the power of the three items to destroy each other. And all three of the items of power are destroyed. And the end.
I use the stones to destroy the city.
Yeah, basically. So again, Deathstalker 1 is it's a little it's a lot rapey. But
And it's basically the inspiration for every bit of pop culture that's happened in the last 40 years.
There's so much evil wizards and spells and babes and big brawny barbarian men, and I mean it is very, very cliche before it was a cliche.
A collection of
kind of
items that makes you godly powerful that you use to destroy themselves after you've accomplished your mission.
Well, you know what it sounds a lot similar to is the He-Man movie. With like He-Man doesn't have boobs, but there are some. I feel like there's some parallels in the style.
All of these,
Dolph Lundgren's got himself like at least some C cups.
All of these barbarian-esque type movies that you saw that came after that early '80s period, like I said, it was the cliche before it became a cliche. So Sorceress came out, I believe, a year after. I think Deathstalker was 82, and I think Sorceress was 83. Sorceress is great because Sorceress is an 80-minute movie about twin females who are gifted with godlike powers when they're born, who are sworn to destroy this evil wizard, and the entire movie does not feature a sorceress at all, in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. I have no idea why it's called Sorceress, but it is.
Tight.
So it's these twin girls. The movie starts with them and their family being attacked by the evil wizard.
This one is not on Prime, though.
No, it is.
Is it?
It is. All three of these movies are on Prime. So the evil wizard comes to kill or to abduct the child of the woman, because he's supposed to be able to sacrifice the child to his god Kalgara to get like godlike powers.
Is the child's name Grogu?
No. There's Mara and Mira, actually, oddly enough.
Shit.
And Mara is the firstborn, laughably enough. But it was played by the twin girls who were Playboy models, and it definitely, you can tell it's a movie.
I think I've seen that issue.
Starring women who were Playboy models. The acting is not great. But so he comes to abduct the child only to discover that they're twins. And so he's interrogating the mother, trying to find out which of them was the firstborn. And she's like, yeah, wouldn't you like to know, blah, blah. So she gets killed, and the god character who imbues his power upon them shows up to protect them. They get sent to this surrogate family. The evil wizard gets killed, but is prophesied to return to have 3 lives. So he dies the first time. 20 years go by before he's able to be reincarnated, so the girls are now grown. The girls do not, in fact, know that they are girls, even though they have Playboy fake tits, and they're just dressed in leathers to look like boys. But they're never allowed to understand. They don't know what sex is. They don't know what the difference between boys and girls are. It's really weird in a lot of ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
The whole transgender movement,
but
with Playboy bunnies.
So, but the whole thing is that they are known throughout the whole movie to a laughable extent as the two who are one. There's a scene later in the movie where they are in the town that the evil wizard and his he's working for this princess type lady. They're trying to find them, and all of the city guards are under direction. They don't know that they're women. The only direction that they have is that they are to find the two who act as one. And there's this scene where they're like, a skirmish happens with them and the dwarf guy who's helping protect them, and this barbarian guy that they go into league with, and it's the 4 of them are the main party.
Do they fight like Daniel and Johnny's kids in Cobra Kai season 2?
No, actually, the Playboy chicks are not bad with swords.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of impressive. Mira is better than Mara, but she also gets more time sword fighting because Mara is the one who gets taken back to the castle. And anyway, I'll get there.
My Mara fights like The Rock.
It's for being Playboy models, they really kind of hold their own. They're not bad.
Athletic. I can dig.
But they're in this city after the dwarf guy rescues them as they're adults. Their surrogate family gets killed. He takes them on a quest because they're tasked with finding Tragon, this evil wizard, and killing him because he killed their mother and then had their surrogate family killed, and that's their charge by their god or whatever. And so they're in this town, and there's a big skirmish that goes on, and they get away, and the village guards show up. And I called it right before anything happened because the village guard shows up and goes, "What happened here?" And I was like, "The two who were one." And sure enough, there's just some dude who got the shit beat out of him. He's like, "There were 4 barbarians who attacked the place, and there were 2 who acted as one." And it's like, so forced. And there's no fucking reason for it to be said whatsoever. But it's there. And
what do you mean that they acted as one?
Yeah.
Well, they did.
They fought together. Yeah. It's like basically what it amounts to.
It was like, that skit on Saturday Night Live with Harry Shearer and Martin Short where the synchronized swimmers.
Yeah,
that's what it's like.
They move in unison and they do the same move. Yeah, it's very, Again, I was like, they're going to mention the 2 being as one, even though it has no fucking bearing on what happened. But that's their clue. And so...
Gotta have it.
Mara gets captured by the guards. Mira gets away with the dwarf guy. Mara gets taken back to the castle, learns that Tragon, the evil wizard, is actually their father. And he has to sacrifice his own child to Calgara to get the powers. But he has to know which one of them was the firstborn so that he sacrifices the right one.
So just do them both.
So he brainwashes with this potion... brainwashes Mara and brainwashes the barbarian dude, Ehrlich.
So these girls don't know that they're fucking what gender they are, but they're going to know which one of them was born first?
They don't know which one was born first.
Okay.
He just happens to take the right one.
Oh.
It's wizard luck.
Yeah, basically. There's a really, really hilarious scene when Mara is kidnapped and brainwashed in the castle. There's very little rape in Sorceress, by the way, especially in comparison to Deathstalker.
There's very little. This is a 1 on the Cosby scale.
Almost all of it is consensual.
Rape's pretty light in this one.
Yeah, it's real light.
Deathstalker is a 5 on the Cosby scale. This is a 1.
This is maybe a 2. No, probably a 1. Deathstalker 2 is probably more like a 2 or 3.
This is fucked up.
Yeah,
like
right.
we've got a budget now after the first one. Let's dial the rate back a little bit.
So Erlich, the barbarian that's with them, and Mara, both are taken by Tragon and they're brainwashed, and they're back at the castle, and they're awaiting the time for the moon to be in the right place to get sacrificed, and they're having sex with each other, and it's the first time that Mara's ever even understood the difference between male and female anatomy. But throughout the movie, they keep talking about how they have shared experiences, like twins have, like, oh, when they see something, I can see it, or when they feel something, I can feel it. So Mara's in the castle having sex with Erlich, and Mira is at the little camp with the dwarf dude.
Just
orgasming.
He has a friend who's like a satyr, like furry legged, has this really fucking uncomfortable looking facial prosthetic on, and all he does is like neigh, like he doesn't actually talk. But he's like the dwarf dude's servant basically. And they're sitting by the fire, and Mira's asleep, and all of a sudden she just starts like moaning and writhing. And they're like, what the, like trying to figure out what's going on. And
the shader should know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, no, he tries to get him a piece while she's just laying there writhing around, moaning and feeling herself up and whatnot. And the dwarf dude is like, oh, I know what's going on.
Of course
she must be with Erlich. And it's really, really uncomfortable, so he sends the satyr guy away. But anyway, so they all get together at the end at the castle, and completely out of nowhere, that they haven't mentioned at all in the movie, Mira hears the god character who imbued them with power as babies speak to her and say that when all hope seems lost, say this word. And it's like vital or something like that. And so she says it like 3 or 4 times, and all of a sudden it cracks the spell on Erlich and Mara right before Erlich's about to shank Mara and sacrifice her. And they both wake up and start attacking Tragon's guards. The video I sent you of the like weird puppeteered chimera being in the sky shows up. That's never been referenced at all in the entire movie. And it shows up in one part of the sky, and Calgara, the evil deformed lady face god, shows up in the other part of the sky, and they like growl at each other and shoot really, really poorly done lightning bolts at each other while all this fighting is going on. And Tragon decides that if he can't sacrifice his daughter to Calgara, he's just going to kill the evil princess lady that he was working with and hope that maybe that works. So he shanks her and is like, here, take this one. And of course it doesn't work. And
of course, don't you know how fucking magic works?
Fucking prophecies work, man. Come on. And if they want your firstborn, they're not just going to take some random slut that you kill.
Right? The gods must be crazy, but not stupid.
Yeah, this is the one that was mine.
Right. And
she's spraying for my loins.
So they're able to overpower Tragon. The godlike chimera character shoots more lightning than the disfigured lady character, god character, does. And she blows up in a really cool, spectacular effect that looks a lot like the Death Star.
I was going to say, is it a Death Star?
It looks a lot like the Death Star exploding, actually.
Like the original or the okay.
No, the original.
They actually blew up the model and not the CG.
And so the movie ends in the most, like, they've overpowered, Tragon is killed, they've freed Mara and Mira, and everybody's going to be okay. And Erlich the Barbarian comes out of the temple that they were in with Mara and Mira, the twins. Who's got the munchies?
She's asking if you do.
Oh,
You've
no.
been eating so much jerky.
No, I just love the jerky. No, I don't smoke anymore, Jenny. I haven't smoked for months. I can't with my job. But so he comes out of the temple with Mara and Mira on one of each arm, and he's like all super close to him and whatnot. And the dwarf guy looks up at the stairs and he's like, "What? Just having one of them wasn't enough for you?" And Erlich smiles and goes, "Well, don't forget, Baldar, these are the two who are one. And they all laugh together and like lean into Ehrlich and give him kisses. The end.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is the second best of the movies?
Yeah. Because, again, Deathstalker 2 is basically a full-on comedy.
Really?
Yeah, it's...
and the first one has 3 sort of jokes.
Yeah. But, like, the seer girl that Deathstalker is helping to protect, this evil wizard made a clone of her and then banished her for some reason instead of just killing her. But he banished her away. And he's using the placeholder duplicate that he made to like hold the throne so that he and his evil people can do their thing. And she has all of this banter with Deathstalker where she like calls him Bucko and stuff. Like there's a lot of not medieval dialogue in it.
They slip into the 50s.
There's a really, really hilarious like Hee-Haw reference where you remember the scenes in Hee-Haw where they would come up and they would peek through the corn. And there's like a scene that is exactly that with Deathstalker and the seer girl. But the thing that struck me the most about Deathstalker 2 is they reuse like a solid maybe 5 to 7 minutes worth of footage from Deathstalker 1 for the movie. Like, there's a scene where there's this one-eyed guy who's supposed to be watching and following Deathstalker and the seer girl, Evie. And so the one-eyed guy is meeting up with this evil chick who works for the bad guy and wants to kill Deathstalker because of some past beef that they have with each other. And all it is the scene is framed where you see the two of them like leaning over a ledge with stonework behind them. But so that it seems like there's more going on, they cut frequently to that big crazy rape riot from the first one to make it seem like they're in a building where something is going on instead of it just being the two of them standing against a stone wall. And there's a bunch of the shots of just like free-flowing nudity that they have in Deathstalker 1 that they reuse for the sequel.
Oh, yeah, you can't let those go to waste.
No, you can't.
That's good B-roll.
Yeah. The Pigman has a couple scenes that were shot for Deathstalker 1 that wind up being reused in Deathstalker 2. One of the funny ones is he's sitting down at a table to eat during the big rape riot thing, and he picks up a smoked pig, and he picks up the head, being a pig man, and he looks at the pig's head, and he kind of looks at it with this like, what the fuck? And then he just chomps down on it anyway.
It's like, what else?
But there's, yeah, like...
it's not cannibalism if you're a pig.
The movie starts with the Evie character being kicked out of town because she's been apparently repeatedly kicked out of this town. She keeps trying to come back. I don't know why. If she thinks she's going to work her way back into the castle or whatever it is.
Like that bitch in Quigley Down Under. Get out of here. No, I'm coming
That's a
back.
movie I haven't seen in a while.
I think
So the guards
I think it's that San Giacomo women.
Yeah, it is. It's
Oh, God.
the chick from The Stand, yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But so she's in the process
Get
of
a fucking retainer, by the way.
Yes.
It's like a
the,
toothpick
it's
wide
the
gap.
Michael
It's just you
Strahan
can close
gap,
that
man.
right up,
Yeah.
just right, like 6 weeks.
I think she's fantastic.
She's being taken out of the town by the guards, and the guards are roughing her up as they send her out of town, and Deathstalker shows up. And Deathstalker's, I don't think it's his very first line in the movie, but it's like there's an opening scene that kind of introduces him, and he does a little sword fighting, and then the credits roll, and then the things kick off proper with Evie getting kicked out of town and Deathstalker showing up. And he literally says to the guards, I'm all right with a lady getting punched around every once in a while, especially if she deserves it, but this looks like an unfair fight. And the guards are like, who are you?
Just straight up Sean
They just
Connery.
pulled it out of Sean Connery's
Yeah, like straight
dialogue.
up. Yeah. He literally, I rewound it so Tori could see it. I was like, no, just trust me. This is what he says. He's just like, yeah, I'm okay with punching ladies as long as they deserve it. But this doesn't seem okay.
Oh, wow.
This does not seem like
the Sean Connery thing is the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. And the guards are like, who do you think we are? And he responds, I don't know, the village idiot and the two runners up. Like I said, there's all these like genuine comedy jokes, like punchline jokes in this fucking sorcery movie that is supposed to be an action movie. There's a scene later where Deathstalker and Evie are incapacitated, laying against each other on the ground, and she makes a comment about how his head doesn't seem to know what's going on, but the bottom half of him sure does. Like a good old hard-on joke.
Yeah.
But it's again,
sword and sorcery dong joke.
So the evil guy's plan is that he's perfecting his spells so that he can duplicate people without, because as it stands right now, he can't kill Evie because if you kill the original, the duplicate dies, which is why he had her banished.
Again, we've all been there.
Yeah, you know. You just want to kill the original. Is that so much to ask?
That's why you make the duplicate.
But so Deathstalker and Evie come upon this group of like warrior women, Amazon types, who all decide that they're going to help them overthrow the evil guy, and it's not a terribly interesting in terms of the other two movies. It didn't hold my attention nearly as well. They try so much to be funny, and it's just so not funny.
No, they did a hee-haw gag.
And like I was telling Chris, I found out when I was reading about it prior to the show, the guy who directed Deathstalker 2 is Jim Wynorski, who did, if you've ever seen, it's also on Amazon Prime, Chopping Mall.
No, sorry.
You have to see that.
Chopping Mall is really great.
Chopping Mall?
Oddly enough, one of the guys from Chopping Mall is the guy who plays Deathstalker in Deathstalker 2.
Chopping Mall is an all-time classic.
When he rescues Evie, they're riding away on their horse, and she's like, I'm Evie. And he's like, I'm Deathstalker. And she goes, Deathstalker? Is that your first name or your last name? And it's again, they try, the sword fights aren't bad. There's a scene where the evil wizard is just practicing his sword fighting while he's giving exposition, and he just will like randomly shout, next! Keep talking to somebody and then shank a dude and be like, next! And every time the next guard that comes up is a little bit more timid about like, I don't want to fucking do this. A lot of the comedy moments fall flat. It's not nearly as engaging of a story because there's barely any characters to it. It again, in terms of the three, it's definitely the lowest in quality, both in its budget and in its overall story quality. But it still has its redeeming moments. Like I said, there are as many one-liners who will get like a soft, dumb chuckle out of you as there are like, man. Like, oops. Deathstalker tells one girl, he's like, get lost. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I mean, walk east until your hat floats. And I thought that one was actually kind of clever.
I like that one.
But yeah, but Jim Wynorski, he did Chopping Mall. He's done a ton of stuff for the Sci-Fi Channel and the Asylum people. Like he did Piranhaconda and... there was
I'll
another,
never not giggle at that name.
There was another one that he did.
Great.
There was another one. A lot of those like Mega Shark versus whatever the fuck it is kind of movies that you see on Sci-Fi Channel. He's done a couple of
Sharknado
those.
type stuff.
Similar stuff, where they're like, again, they're deliberately trying to be a comedy. And man, comedy is hard to hit. If you don't hit the beats right, it's just painful to watch.
I feel that way about bad movies.
Well, it's people's expectations going into those movies, like what their expectations happen to be.
Like Alex and I watched the first two American Ninja movies this weekend.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic. They're awful movies, right? But
there's some good fight scenes. I mean, but, not great, but they're not bad.
I love those movies. I love them. They're so dumb.
There's one on Amazon that I got suggested through watching these movies with Don the Dragon Wilson. That's called Virtual Combat, where they bring. Oh, have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I was deeply ingrained in fucking 80s and 90s terrible
they bring
martial
video
arts
game
movies.
characters to life
Yeah.
and they fight. Yeah, that's on my list, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, you might like it.
I'm sure I will.
But
I love shit like that as long as if it's shitty and it's not boring.
I think the ones that they're trying not to be, like the first two American Ninja ones, I think they were seriously trying to make good movies.
Yeah, you can tell.
And
you really can.
I think the ones that are trying to ironically be bad movies, I don't like those at all.
No, they're
like
that's how the Sharknado
Piranha
movies are.
Condo,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, and that's where
Sharknado.
Deathstalker 2 suffers so much, is that they're trying to, like, there's a couple scenes that end with them. Well, for example, the one where Deathstalker and Evie, when she makes the hard-on joke, they both break at the end of the scene and laugh, and it's not
okay.
No, it's not okay, and it really takes you out of it, and it really lessens the enjoyment of the movie. Whereas, like,
that's some bargain basement Jimmy Fallon shit.
In Deathstalker 1, when he's in the cave meeting the imp guy before the imp guy is freed of his spell, he's talking to him about, I'm here looking for the sword of justice, and the imp guy's like, I've been trapped down here for 30 years, eating toadstools and spiders and mice and blah blah blah. And Deathstalker says something else that doesn't really even acknowledge what he says, and he's like, you don't have anything to eat, do you? Like, those little moments where they're not trying to be funny, it just is funny, is way different than a fucking hee-haw joke.
Yeah.
It really takes you out of it, and it really diminishes bad movies where they earnestly try and just end up bad. Can be really, really fun.
Yeah, like Chopping Mall.
Yes. Bad movies, which has one of the best head explosions in any movie, like it's up there with Scanners.
With Scanners, yeah.
It's a great fucking head explosion.
I love that movie. It was on the same tape as one of the RoboCops, is why I've seen
nice.
it in Grandpa's collection.
There you
when
go.
He used to have a ton, and it just came up after. I'm pretty sure that was what it was. I don't know. Verhoeven movies are up there too.
Yeah.
Like, they're not great, but they're fucking fun to watch.
Yeah. And he's a guy who knows how to make a movie deliberately bad, but still make it enjoyable. Like,
Yeah.
it's a genuine skill. It's not something that anybody can do.
Yeah. The first couple, all 3 Evil Dead movies.
Yeah, they pull it off. Dude, I can't remember the name of the production company that... I'm going to have to look it up, but Critters. The first Critters movie hits that out of the park.
Yeah.
Like a champ. And then they made fucking...
Ghoulies, too.
Yeah.
Not the sequel, but Ghoulies was that way.
It was the same company.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of the older ones, and I don't know. And I was thinking about that when I was watching them, because Alex just loved it. And you can't just jump in on American Ninja 2 because there's no, like, this is why Joe Armstrong. There's no even, like, setting the scene.
Oh, it's Empire Pictures.
Nice. I don't know. The first
They did
one...
Reanimator.
Did they really?
Yes. And From Beyond. And, oh, man, Rawhead Rex. If you've never seen Rawhead Rex, check it out. It was written by Clive Barker. No. It's about
No. Oh, I know which one that is. Yeah, that was one of the ones that was from the Books of Blood.
They did Troll, and Robot Jocks was one of the last movies that they did. It was written by Clive Barker based on a short story of the same name.
From the
It's
Books
about
of
a
Blood,
monstrous pagan god's bloody rampage through the Irish countryside. It was in Volume 3 of Books of Blood. Yeah, dude, Rawhead Rex. I will pull this. Actually, Ward, will you pull up a picture? Just Google search Rawhead Rex, because the prosthetic work that they did for him looks fucking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Same company that did Ghoulies. They made so fucking much money.
That looks like a big version of one of the Ghoulies.
They made so much money on Ghoulies that they were able to make movies for like 15 years after it.
Wow.
Yeah. and they were all of diminishing quality over those years. But
That's too bad. That's so cool.
Rawhead Rex, Clive Barker doing it right. He's a talented man.
He's a weird
He's
guy.
a weird man, but he makes
That's
cool
cool. It
shit.
almost looks CGI.
Yeah. All practical.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, those were my very barbaric Christmas movies. Again,
I'm gonna have
definitely,
to watch Deathstalker.
definitely
Yeah, I'm interested.
lowering in quality as they go. If you were gonna watch one of them, I would definitely say watch Deathstalker. Sorceress is fun, but it's part of the problem with it is it's one of those movies that almost all the lines of dialogue are redubbed, so the audio doesn't always match the mouths, and it's a little bit jarring at times.
I can't do that anymore. Jenny turned something on the other day.
It's fun.
And it was
Yeah,
it was like
if my speaker shit's out of sync, it drives me fucking crazy.
it was like a
And
German
not all of
movie
them are that way, because
that
not
was
all the
English
lines
dubbed,
are
and it was
redubbed.
awful.
Yeah, even a movie that's like say it's a French movie or some other language that's dubbed in English.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it looks interesting to me, I'm like, no.
I'd rather read subtitles
Yeah.
personally. But it's like I
Because
said,
I'm
not
reading them anyway.
not.
But I'd rather
not-
read subtitles in English.
Well, yeah. Not all of the dialogue in it is redubbed. Like I think their last name is Lee. The chicks from Sorceress, they both do their own voices, and you can tell it's them. It's Lynette Harris and Lee Harris. Excuse me.
The Harris sisters.
The Harris sisters.
Like I said, for being Playboy models, they can swing a sword all right, believably.
They can sheathe one too. Heyo!
Heyo. No, they were. It was really fun. I've been really enjoying getting on these little weird kicks of movies that are like I'll sit down and watch like 4
Yeah, I'm
movies
definitely
that are
intrigued.
all in the
It's
same
like
wheelhouse.
it's funny that you get in these rabbit holes that you otherwise maybe wouldn't have gone into.
Yeah, no, and I found a couple more that I still haven't watched. One of them's got fucking. It's called I think it's called The Warrior and the Princess. It's also on Prime. It's got David Carradine in it.
Wow.
You know, he died of autoerotic asphyxiation.
No, he didn't. The Thai lady boys just took off before they found him.
Well, either way, they found him hanging by his neck in
was-
his closet with his dick in his hand.
It was definitely erotic
that's what he's known
asphyxiation.
for. But
He didn't do it himself though.
no, that one's on Amazon Prime that I didn't get a chance to watch that I'm kind of interested in.
Did you ever see Lady Hawk? Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer?
I don't know if I have.
You should watch that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I like Rutger Hauer.
But
If you've never seen Hobo
in
with a
that vein.
Shotgun.
It's in that vein, and it's actually well done.
Oh, hey.
Are you watching the screen though?
Yeah, you're
Whoa,
actually
and
seeing-
Matthew Broderick?
Yeah.
Damn, Richard Donner directed it?
Uh-huh.
Dude, this doesn't sound like a movie that fucks around. It's got a $20 million budget.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'll have to try and find that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's one
interested.
you might have to go to the high seas to find, but
Yeah, that's all right.
it's a show.
I'm not opposed to doing that.
I remember seeing that when I was younger, and it was one of those ones that was like, wow.
No, I'm always reminded of what was the one with that Rick was such a big fan of.
Excalibur?
With the dude no, the other one. With the dude from Ghostbusters 2 that was the art collector. Like Dragon Slayer or something.
Ian McNichol?
Yeah, Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer?
Peter McNichol.
Yeah.
Peter McNichol?
That movie was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You know, Helen Mirren and Liam Neeson have a love scene in Excalibur, and Liam
Really?
Neeson is in full plate armor.
Do you know who plays Judas in the 1978 television movie Jesus of Nazareth?
Al Swearingen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I just
Yeah.
found that out the other day when my mom was watching it.
Yeah.
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 Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
Ian McShane?
Ian McShane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
He's a talented man.
She asked me to look up
Is that Ian McShane? It sure is.
the dude.
Have you watched Lovejoy?
No,
It's not bad.
I can't imagine it is.
It's-
He's so fucking talented.
Like, I mean, it's definitely but it's a BBC type MacGyver-ish type show.
Yeah.
But
What is this you're talking about?
Lovejoy.
It was his series.
it was a
before he
series
on-
that was in, like in
Oh.
it was
before he
written in
started
series,
playing heavies.
Oh, okay. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
and he was kind of like a gumshoe type
Did you see
character.
44-inch chest?
Shit,
Yes,
yeah, I
it's
did.
good.
That was a good one.
I love
Everyone in that movie.
everyone in that movie, but God, what's his name?
Ray Winstone.
Ray Winstone.
Winstone,
Yeah, thank you. He's
yeah.
fucking great.
Yeah. Jetbug. He was in Edge of Darkness with Mel Gibson. Did you
He
see that?
was in the proposition
Oh, yeah.
with Guy Pearce.
That was his
and
take.
Danny Houston.
So you were telling me, what's the one? The Madman.
The Professor and the Madman.
Professor and the Madman. Is it
I
good?
caught like a half hour of that when my mom was watching it last night, and yeah, I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
It looks intriguing.
Sean Penn's a fantastic actor. He's a
I
weird
don't.
fucking dude.
I don't like him as a person.
No.
But he delivers that acting performance like.
Yeah. And he's on point in this one too.
Yeah.
I know I fell asleep. But
He's
it
a
was-
dick of all dicks in like
Real life.
in real life.
But hey,
fuck.
again, separate the art
Who
from the
was
artist.
it? Who was it? He was married to that he tied to a chair.
Robin
and was
Wright.
Burning
Yeah,
with, yeah.
Robin Wright. Claire Underwood.
Yeah, but I don't think he was burning her with a crack pipe.
Separating the art from
I think
the
it,
artist.
I think
man.
it was I think it was Madonna that he did that to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember if that's the story or not, but he did torture one of his significant others. Because he was married to Robin Wright for a long time,
Yeah.
and she would have bounced.
She even took his last name.
Yeah, she would have
So-
bounced quite a bit earlier.
So,
Crack
pipe. That's going to be in your search history.
pipe torture. That picture is great. He looks like
Okay, well,
Phil Spector.
now it just became about the picture.
Look, he looks like Phil Spector. Look, guys,
Oh my God,
he should have played him instead of
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Man,
Speaking of Helen Mirren,
Rough looking face.
that's
right
yeah,
there.
man, and that's on national TV too.
yeah,
His agent let him go on TV looking like that.
I hate his fucking politics.
You know what
too.
movie I like him in a lot is The Game.
Yeah,
That's a good movie.
That's a
That
great
movie is
That
top.
movie holds up.
Isn't that a Fincher?
David Fincher, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Most of
Michael
Fincher's-
Douglas, yeah,
most
I
of
mean-
All of his
Fincher's
stuff
movies
holds up.
Holds up. Even Alien 3, really.
You know, Alien 3 gets a lot of bad shit, but there is a lot to like about that movie.
There is.
There really is. You know, they actually had dogs in, like real dogs in prosthetics for that
Really?
movie. Yeah, like they had trained dogs.
Wow, that
Yeah.
seems kind of shitty.
Well, yeah.
Shitty for the dogs.
Yeah. But yeah, they were real trained dogs that they did up in prosthetics and stuff to do some of those scenes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't happen today.
No, you could not fucking get away with that now.
Fuck, they did that. What scene was it? A Dog's Journey or something where they had like
Oh, the
it was a controlled environment,
and
but
they still got
but
in a
it looked
huge
like a
shitstorm
fucking
of trouble for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
you can't
you
can't
can-
do stuff like that.
You can
anymore.
barely do damage to a CGI dog anymore without
Right.
fucking people getting
Yeah.
on you. Like, that's an imaginary dog. It's digital, but you
Yeah.
can't do that. Fuck you. Fuck you.
So
You can't do something off screen to a puppy and just have a recorded sound. Oh, that wasn't a dog. That was a coyote we punched in the face to get that sound.
yeah, coyotes are assholes.
so fill me in on this, Chris.
Which
'Cause
one?
I'm, the Operation Ranch Hand.
Ranch Hand was the Agent
I'm-
Orange shit. They were nuking vegetation in Vietnam. And
My father-in-law still, or well, I don't know that he still does, but he got back in, kickbacks for being exposed to Agent Orange.
should.
Yeah,
That shit'll fuck you up.
yeah,
Fucked up a lot of people for a long
It
time.
did permanent long-term damage to him. So what is?
Yeah, well, it's just interesting to me how much like kind of chemical warfare shit that we engaged in
Because I didn't get a chance to. I had to do some Christmas shopping and stuff today, and between watching my Deathstalker movies and doing Christmas shopping and stuff, I didn't really get a chance to read up on this. So fill me in.
Yeah, I read this like 2 months ago when we initially were going to do this.
Only you can prevent a forest.
Yeah, they.
What?
Yeah,
What?
The idea was to take out as much vegetation as possible, so they had less places to hide.
Okay.
I don't know if this,
Less oxygen.
if this came about
Look out for Charlie up in the trees.
as before they knew they were running in tunnels and shit.
Sorry, Ward.
You gave him a heart attack.
I got you there. Sorry, buddy.
Down the wrong pipe, man.
All right.
It just happens to coincide with my needing to piss.
Oh,
The herbicides were sprayed by the Air Force. So, was there anything like harmful to people about the herbicides that they were spraying, or were they just?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Agent Orange was one of the herbicides they were spraying.
Oh, okay.
And it was between this was the defoliant portion of the multi-spectrum warfare that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
But they were also doing some attempts at weather control. So they were
Oh,
taking
so
out the vegetation.
Was that Popeye?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we talked about previously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there were parallels to the two.
So
Okay.
they wiped this out, and then the Popeye was to mess with the weather and make it so that there were just massive mudslides.
Muddy shit.
And so they were taking out the vegetation and also trying to fill the rat holes with as much water as possible, just to try and flood them out of their rat holes.
The most common herbicide used was herbicide orange, more commonly referred to as Agent Orange. Okay, so this explains why so many of our men wound up getting
Yeah.
fucking affected by it, was because they were basically just spraying it en masse everywhere that they were.
Yeah.
Man, God bless America.
Because who wants to
Holy
fight
cow.
in the jungle when you can fight in a desert?
Yeah.
A muddy desert.
A muddy fucking desert.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's amazing the level. Like, as soon as science got involved with warfare, it made things a lot different.
Yep.
It's always been involved in warfare, though. Warfare's been one of the driving
smallpox.
things behind science ever. Greek fire, the catapult, the
That's true.
trebuchet.
I
Like
was going to say
every
the trebuchet, just
every-
launching buckets of flaming shit at people. I mean,
or pox-infested heads over
yeah.
walls.
They didn't
Like,
just throw heads as a sign of intimidation. They were infected.
They threw bodies to spread disease.
Yeah.
Or when Alexander the Great filled in, built a peninsula to take over an island city.
Yeah.
All of that stuff was science and engineering
Yeah.
due to warfare.
Because again, there, as we've discussed, there are no rules in war, man.
Well, so this is a
I think
controversial
it's a stupid idea.
segue, but what do you think about? Because I've talked with my wife about this a little bit, but about COVID being engineered to take out certain races.
I think it's nonsense.
I think it's nonsense. I think that there is more credence to the idea of AIDS being engineered to take out gay people than there is the idea of COVID being engineered to take out any specific group of people.
So do you think COVID was just a coincidence? Or
No, I think it was engineered.
I think it was engineered,
I
but I don't.
absolutely think it was lab made.
Yeah, I don't.
But I think
But I
that
don't think it was. There was a specific intent behind it. I think it was
The fact that it's
similar
more,
to Captain Trips, where it just accidentally
the
made its way
reaction
out.
was engineered more so than the
Oh, very much.
the
so.
virus was.
Very much so.
No, I think the virus is lab made.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No,
The reaction
I agree, but the
to the
reaction-
virus, the engineered virus, was
they've
Oh,
been
yeah.
leading
engineered
people along
more so.
piece by piece through the whole.
Yeah, I don't.
right.
pretend
It's
the
being
whole
used as a
ordeal.
tool to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's the perfect enemy.
yeah.
No one can see it.
Constantly.
You don't know
changing.
who's got it. You don't. Who is an unwitting carrier?
It might kill you.
You don't
but it
know
might
who it'll
not do
kill.
much to you.
Right.
Yeah. It could be, or it could be. You don't know. I don't know.
You could have it, not know it, and give it to your grandma and kill her.
Yeah, it could kill 8,000 people tomorrow, or it could kill no one tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it's
Right. Well, and
I think
that's
that
the thing that's like
I think the coverage on it has been
sensational.
just as manufactured, if not, because I agree with you. I don't think that it's something that just happened. The coronavirus stuff, as you've seen from the shit about Lysol wipes killing coronavirus and blah 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 that have been around for years. But I think this specific one that is affecting people and actually doing all this, I think is something that they took and doctored.
Yeah.
But I think if you're taking your vitamin D every morning, you're not going to have any problems.
No,
How does your mom feel about it?
my mom.
Yeah.
She, even after going through everything that she's gone through, she had one instance where she was, I don't want to use the word worried, but she was having a conversation with her doctor about going and doing something. And her doctor used people can get it a second time if they don't have adequate antibodies. And that kind of got her hair up on the back of her neck a little bit. And so they ran a test to
That's
see
fucking
how much of her.
fear-mongering.
Yeah, right.
What a
That's
fucking
exactly what I
cocksucker.
said. That's exactly what I said. But so they ran a test to check her antibody levels, and her antibody levels are at such that, and to piggyback off of this, because this is something that I find very interesting now that the first rounds of vaccines are going out. We need to be checking people's antibody levels to find out how susceptible they are to getting it again. And we need to be checking the effectiveness of the vaccine. This whole thing could have potentially been... How many people do you think have had their antibodies checked that have had it
Right.
for concerns about reinfection, even though it's statistically proven that reinfection is both highly unlikely and not nearly as dangerous?
Right.
But you don't hear shit about that. You hear mask up, save lives.
Yeah, I mean it's all just fucking punchlines.
But no, my mom had that one worry that she wouldn't have even thought about had her doctor not said something.
Yeah.
And she got her antibody levels checked, and they were like,
we're
"No, you're
slogan
good."
driven at this point. It's
Yeah,
like
it's-
Hitler is the enemy and COVID's Hitler. And or Trump's Hitler, whatever you want to look at. However you want to, whatever lens you want to look at it through.
Yeah. Fascists.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's frightening to think about
Just shut up and do what you're told.
how the
Like Freeman says, man, quit your job, save the world. Back out. Just get out of society.
Just shut
Wander
up
the
and
fuck
do
away.
what you're told.
Get out, grow some food, find some friends, form a community, and just get the fuck out. That's the only way to get away from
know.
this nonsense.
Yeah.
it really is, honestly. I mean,
Anymore,
it's
yeah. Because
if
we've
you can
dealt-
emotionally check out, then nobody's gonna watch. Like nobody cares.
we've dealt
If you're
with-
emotionally checked out, then that's just some guy that's emotionally checked out.
Y2K,
Like if we can't bend that person's will,
Y2K
then
didn't take off enough
fuck 'em.
to get people controlled. The bird flu didn't take off enough to get people controlled. But COVID took off enough to get people willing to start allowing themselves to be controlled.
9/11 helped. I mean,
yeah,
if you watch, it's a
absolutely.
progression
Yeah.
from. I mean, you could go
The
you could
willingness,
go far
the
back
willingness
as Kennedy,
to forego
really.
freedoms
but you can't tell people
for
that.
the idea of
you can't tell
security.
people that feel that they're doing the right thing
Yeah.
because they think. But and I've always been kind of like on one side, like kind of in between. It's less and less so the more time progresses, because the more that time progresses, it's like, fuck, this just seems like a fucking puppet show. More than anything, because it's all about death numbers and people in the hospital and all this stuff, and there's no
beds in the ICU.
Right. It's all these numbers.
But that's
it's,
not true.
It's all negative.
No, it's not.
Like they only provide negative numbers for one. And they're only providing, like, they only give the negative information. And I said this before, and I know this is going to take a lot. Like, this is going to get a lot of people working in the industry, in the healthcare industry, pissed off. But I've gone to the hospital, and it's a real fucking lackadaisical environment there.
Yeah.
When you go and you feel like your needs are urgent.
And they're not.
And they're kind of like,
and
they're just kind of like, and they'll sit out there and they'll fucking talk amongst themselves and have these big long fucking conversations. Shows like Grey's Anatomy, fucking ER and shit were made to be built around the fucking drama that happens in a workplace environment setting in the healthcare industry, and it's a lot of fucking
So you go
in break rooms and shit like that.
You go to Valley Medical to even just go in for a routine appointment like I did a couple weeks ago.
You sit and spin for 45 minutes to an hour.
You walk in the front door, and there's a woman sitting at a little kiosk. And there's a sign on the front of her kiosk that says, do you have dry cough, temperature of 100.4, blah, 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 blah. She does not do anything other than ask you, how are you feeling? What are you here for today?
Right.
What's
to stop you from saying, I feel fine?
If this were something that were like Black Plague levels of decimation at a medical facility, they would not just fucking let you walk in on, Scout's honor, I'm good.
Right.
They wouldn't. It's a fucking joke. Their screening efforts are put in place because if they didn't have them, they would be subject to ridicule. It's the same idea as the mask thing.
Well, it's the same idea as putting your mask on because you feel like if I don't put my mask on, and I've been in this position.
Yeah.
If I don't put my mask on, someone's going to fucking shame me for it.
Yep.
Or if
it's the exact same thing.
And it's the same. It's the same for the reverse of it, but I would say the reverse is probably less so. I feel like I'm going to get shamed more if I don't have my mask on than if I do.
You don't. I haven't worn a mask. People start in, and I just shut them down.
Well, yeah, but what do you claim the second?
Yep. Just say it.
Yeah.
You don't have to show proof. Just because I have a legitimate reason doesn't mean you need one.
Right.
No.
Because no one will challenge you.
No, and we were taught, when I worked at Canna, we were specifically told, if they say they have a medical condition, you will get fired if you ask them what that medical condition is.
That's like HIPAA.
Yeah, because it ain't your fucking business.
Well, and it's funny because I've been looking at the HIPAA, and it's only medical people that are prevented from saying anything.
Yep.
Right.
Like it's
HIPAA
a weird,
doesn't prevent
it's
private
not as
citizens
it's not this
from
magic
saying
bullet about
HIPAA.
No, it doesn't prevent private
is
citizens
an interpretive
from saying anything.
Nope.
You can't release someone's medical information that you know of, but that doesn't cover a person revealing their medical information.
No, but if
at all.
But if you know why I'm medically not supposed to have it, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yep.
Because it's not like you found that out from anybody but me.
Yep. No, it's I find it very interesting that we are here 10 months now, roughly?
Yeah.
10 months into this.
I mean, really 11, because January is when it happened, because I got into a fucking, somebody made a big fucking thing about Kobe Bryant dying.
And that's when we made our joke.
February is really when it took off.
When we put those painter's masks on, making a joke about it.
Yeah.
The N95 masks, the ones that you're supposed to wear, but then now all of a sudden, it's okay to just wear whatever fucking fabric your aunt sews together.
You can just go like this.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah.
That's
my favorite. I'll just pull my T-shirt up over my nose, and it's the same.
So,
thing.
And it technically is. It's the same fucking thing as that asshole with a bandana on, or somebody with their little paper mask.
It's just show. It's just show.
I think I've mentioned this before on a previous show, but man, all I gotta say is I wish I would have bought stock in any of those PPE companies.
Masks and
hand sanitizer.
And the plastic fucking shields. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how fast those started popping up, like in a real manufactured sense.
It is.
In
I
fucking
have to
stores
wear a mask
and shit
when I go to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy
Even
who
though I
also
work,
works there
even
has been fighting with them.
Even though I work on an assembly line and there's only one space on the... okay, so of the line that I've worked on so far, there's only one space that I work where I am within 6 feet of another person. And it's only for 40 minutes at a time. And I'm still required to put one on as soon as I walk in. You know, I have to stick my arm in a little thing to check my temperature before I'm allowed to walk on plant.
Wow.
Yeah. How fucking silly is that?
It's absurd. Yet here we are. 10 months into
Almost a
15
year, almost a year,
days of
almost
distancing.
a year into it, and we are arguably farther behind now than we were when all this started.
Financially, also,
Businesses
speaking
are
of the
closing,
stimulus,
people are getting fucked.
like they threw out that $1,200 stimulus when we didn't need it, and it was a fight to give us like the $600. Like, I don't care if I have it or not. And, like, it's not something I need, but it was like I know for a fact there are people that fucking need it now.
Who need it, and they need
more
a lot
of it.
more than that.
Yeah. And they're acting like a big favor's being done for $600.
Yeah, I will.
When they're throwing money at the Kennedy
when
Center.
they're throwing billions at other places. And
gender studies in Pakistan.
I will take my $1,800 and not complain because it's again, I'm in the same boat. Do I need it? No. Will I take it? Fuck yeah. It's money from the government. I'll definitely take it.
Yeah, kegerator.
It's fucking my money anyway.
But it's
you know?
Right.
Where the money is going is a fucking full-blown travesty.
Gender studies in Pakistan.
Yeah.
They're building a wall in some
Super
country.
helpful.
Last I checked, building border walls was racist and xenophobic, but we can pay for other countries to do it.
Yep.
Right.
We can throw more fucking money at Israel. Okay, what's that getting us?
We need to fund their military.
We can keep throwing money at
Is it keeping us
the
safe?
Kennedy Center.
Right.
What happened last stimulus bill when we gave money to the fucking Kennedy Center? They fired half their staff. But we're going to give them another $20 million or what the fuck ever.
So I was figuring that I was figuring that $600 at 300 million people. Well, obviously 300 million people are not getting $600 a piece.
Right.
I get
There are
18.
people. Well, yeah,
I get 6 for myself
right.
and 6 for each of my kids.
Right, but they're part of the 300,000.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
and 300,000 is a 20-year-old number too, because I think that was what the census was in 2000.
300 million.
300 million. Sorry.
And all you have to do is make less than a fucking $1 million a year, basically, to be qualified for it.
Right. Well, yeah, it goes down, but still, even if you pay 300 million people $600 a piece, it's still under $2 billion.
Yeah.
It's still under $2 billion. We're giving away at least that much to other countries.
Over $100 million to Burma to fight drugs. Why?
Who cares?
Who cares? I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit about
Burma
street
could
drugs.
be a fucking flat piece of glass on the earth, and I don't think anyone would fucking notice.
Except John Rambo.
Well, yeah, but that would be because he caused it, and he would be like, oh,
You're
not bringing any guns, you're not changing anything.
Didn't he detonate a nuke in that one?
For some reason, he's just like, Adrian!
I love that fucking movie.
I don't know. I
love that
like
one.
I said, I will.
That was my favorite
If
Rambo
the government wants to throw me money, I am not going to say no. But if they think they're going to throw me money and get me to be like, yeah, America cares for me.
Right. That's exactly
wrong.
That's my point. It's like, it's not because
they're throwing
like I
this
feel
money
like
to people to get them to not pay
Pelosi and
attention to the other
McConnell.
things
Yeah, it's
they're
like,
doing.
look at this. Look at this.
Take your money. Don't
now
pay
we're doing
attention to
this.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is.
You don't worry about this. $600. Look at that.
Well,
Not even fucking rent for most people for a month.
Oh, I know.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a fucking travesty.
And Rand Paul's right. Like, you can't just keep printing money and saying, "Oh, here you go. Here you go. Here's this money."
That ain't gonna fucking stop them, though, man.
No.
They're gonna keep doing it anyway.
Well, and
What happened to Germany when they did that 100 years ago?
I do like Yang's
Your home
idea
with money than it was with actual wallpaper. Is that what you're talking about?
I do
that
like
was a thing.
I do like Yang's idea of the universal income. However,
It's coming.
the COVID tramp stamp, I'm not really too excited about.
I genuinely, firmly believe that there will be a universal basic income before we die.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and probably some sort of chip or I don't want to get all fucking head.
Do you have any idea how many? Look at the Facebook posts that you see from people now who are like, "If you get food stamps, you should have to pass a drug test."
Right.
Imagine what it's going to be like when people are just getting money from the government,
or the
and they're
people.
Like, what about all these people who spend their UBI on crack?
So, that's their UBI. They're not
They're
getting food
supporting
stamps anymore.
Infrastructure. Those crackheads buy guns, man.
Well, but you know what? Like, that's their choice. They're not getting food stamps anymore. They're not getting welfare anymore. Yeah. Everybody's just getting that flat whatever.
Yeah.
Grand, $2,000. I don't care what it is.
No.
Give it to them. Just give them that money.
Let them spend it how they want to spend it, because the ones who can't manage it
it evens the playing field, and it helps Darwinism work.
And if you don't agree with it, donate it to charity.
That's what I was going to say. Was the thing is if you take away those kind of programs and you just go to the UBI concept, and you let them just spend that money where they want to, and they still can't manage it and they still can't sustain, they will die.
Darwinism takes
Darwinism.
over. Yeah,
exactly. The people who can't function when they get enough money given to them to survive won't survive.
Right.
Oh, woe is me.
And then they slough off the fucking planet.
What a shame.
Goodbye. Move
I'm
the
going to
fuck
sound
on.
like Hudds when I say this, but there are far too many useless fucking life and air sucking fucking people on this planet. They serve no purpose but to take up space.
They do.
Absolutely.
And I am not the kind of person who says that lightly, because we all know how relentlessly fucking optimistic Ron is. But when it comes to situations like that, I feel strongly that way, because there's been times where I've had to get state assistance. There's been times where the only reason I was able to feed my family was because of food stamps.
Oh yeah, my family has had that. Not me directly, but when my parents were like going through school and stuff, or when my dad was.
Do you want to know?
I don't think those programs make those people useless.
Do you want to know how many people I saw when I was in those programs whose sole function in life was to abuse those programs? We found out, my ex-wife and I found out through, and it's starting to get late, so I won't be long here.
Yeah.
But we found out that 3 times in one rolling calendar year, if you waited, starting on the very first day of the month at Quality Behavioral Health in Clarkston, you had to be one of the first 3, maybe 4 people in line, because the funds wound out really, really quickly. But if you got there on the first and you showed up at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning to wait outside the place, for 3 months out of the calendar year, you could simply sign your name on a piece of paper and get a little state grant thing that would pay your rent for the month for a quarter of the year. And the only thing you had to do was wait at a door.
Get up in the morning.
Hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
That is literally conditioning people to not try hard. That is conditioning people to be like, "Nah, man, we got you. Don't worry about your..."
Set an alarm clock. Yeah.
Yeah. That shit is fucking scary. You've got people who wake up every morning and are like, "God, I feel like fucking death, but I can't call into work today because I've got bills to pay."
Right.
And then you've got other people who are like, "Oh shit, it's the first. I got to set my alarm today so that I can go get my free $800 to pay my rent for the month." And you condition people for that shit.
That is the mind of a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
It really is. I have a 14-year-old. That is the way my 14-year-old mind
free
works.
money?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just it.
It's fucking terrifying, man. And it's a real thing, and it still goes on now. That program still runs now.
That's crazy.
It's fucked up. The only thing you have to do to get a month's worth of rent is wake up early one day?
Early bird gets
Like,
the worm.
fucking come on. If you stand on one foot and sing I'm a Little Teapot, we'll pay your Avista bill for the month. Like, fucking come on.
No shit.
It's ridiculous.
Indeed.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
It's been a great show. Happy
The least
holidays.
charitable.
Happy New Year.
The
Merry
least
Christmas.
charitable Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Yeah. Happy Kwanzaa.
What about Tom Cruise really quick?
Oh, he
He's
also
right.
went on a COVID
He's
rant.
right.
He is right. It's sad that it has to be because of COVID, but he is right.
But he's
I
right.
agree with you.
Follow the fucking rules. It ain't that hard.
Exactly. And that's, I think, where his position was coming from. It was
Yep.
more, I don't know, I don't care where the fuck he lands on the COVID argument. The argument is the business argument.
Did you
And
see-
the business argument is we have to follow these fucking rules, and that's what we have to fucking
Yeah.
do.
Did you see Dwayne Haskins, the Washington Redskins backup quarterback?
No.
They lost their game in Seattle on Sunday, and he was photographed on social media Sunday night partying with strippers at a strip club without a mask.
Good for him.
Get fined. No, not good for him. He gets paid fucking more money than you or I see in several years
To be
follow
responsible.
a couple
To
fucking
be
rules.
to be
Ain't that fucking
responsible
hard.
within the
If you don't want to do it,
right.
fine, get fired, but don't act like a fucking victim when you get fired.
No, I'm fine with him getting fired too, but good for him. Those strippers need money.
All right, thanks
How
for
do you
listening.
Social distance on a lap dance.
It's difficult.
Thanks for listening.
Merry
This
Christmas,
is the
everybody.
last episode of the year, so go out to our Patreon and give us money and stuff. TimespentPoorly.com.
Support our UBI.
We can make
Yeah.
a crazy good 2021 series for you guys.
Absolutely.
We have ideas.
Support
Some of them are better than
Edwardo's
others.
Fucking streaming habit.
Goodbye. Happy New Year.